All right, we're back. Top of the morning. Time for some proper football in London. Let's get this stream up and get going. We've got a lot to talk about. It's been a while. It's been a week actually, which it's crazy to say, but is actually like the longest time I've gone without streaming in a minute. So I've been enjoying it. It's been a busy week. We'll talk about that. I'll give y'all a little update in the life of the doctor, but as always, copy link, send tweet. But yeah, we've got some football on this morning. Let's check chat now. Look at that. Quick setup. Someone's already in here. Someone already dropped a heart. Good to see. Good morning. Welcome to whoever you are. Of course, as always, if you're in the stream, just feel free to say hi. How you doing? If you're new, check out what else I've got going on. But yeah, gonna be talking some football. It's Falcons and Jaguars, or Jaguars, as they say, across the pond. Early morning football, and I gotta say, it's actually a pretty interesting game. We are going to switch over real quick here, actually, because, I don't know, we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to, excuse me, I'm going to cough real quick. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. But what I'm going to try and do, especially since I didn't stream on Thursday, is obviously we're going to be going live during this game, because I feel like this is actually a pretty big game in the context of these two teams. But of course, we've also got a full slate to preview as well. So I figured I would kind of combine the two. Give me something to talk about during commercial breaks, during halftime. I mean, we got 30 minutes still before this game starts. So yeah, there's only one person in here right now, so I feel like I want to wait until maybe a few more people get in here. We've got Gabe in here saying UGA, big win for the Dogs yesterday. It was a close one. I mean, on the road versus Auburn, right? Conference foe. Or sorry, oh joy oi, or however that went. Yeah, I don't know. I caught the end of that game when I was going to get my dinner. I got Chinese yesterday, which was very good. I've got leftovers for lunch today, which I'm very excited for. But yeah, Brock Bowers is he's pretty good. This Georgia offense though, they kind of miss Todd Monken a little bit, but the defense is still there. They'll always have a fighting chance. Their schedule's fairly easy, although, hey, Ole Miss, pretty big win. They'll be coming to town in about a month. That should be a fun game. But, yeah, big win for the Dogs, but kind of a close one. This is not last year's team or the year before, that's for sure. Both their SEC games have been fairly close so far, but we'll see. They always find a way to take care of business. I gotta say, it's a little annoying how, like, for this game, like, I'll have to switch channels. They have the pregame on ESPN right now, but the actual game is on ABC, which I guess I respect for, like, people that have just, like, basic cable and, like, they get ABC. Like, it's, like, more eyeballs, you know, like, more people are able to watch it, but it just slightly inconveniences me. Anyways, all right, we've got 3 people in here. It's early, I get it, you know, so we're going to probably jump in and we're going to preview this game first before it gets started. Of course, we've got a full slate. There's a lot to talk about. We got a great game right here, which I'm really excited for. We've also got 2 0-3 bowls, which is going to be interesting. Obviously, I'm a little more invested in one than the other, but this game will actually be fairly interesting too, to see like which team is a bigger dumpster fire. Ravens Browns is a pretty big game. So yeah, we've got a nice slate. Grace and Truth is in here. Didn't get the notification that you went live. That's interesting. I don't know what happened there. I know YouTube can just kind of be like that sometimes. Yeah, I don't know what to say. That is too bad. I can look into that. I haven't like changed any settings or anything. But yeah, that is interesting. Gabe sent it to him. That was your notification. Well, you know what? Sometimes we'll take the fan source notifications, right? Word of mouth, old school. But yeah, I don't know what to say. That is weird. That might be something I will take care of after this. But yeah, we're going to try and take this stream through this game. Maybe I started a little early. Who knows? Vikings haters. Interesting. Vikings haters. I feel like I don't know. There's not much to hate about the Vikings right now unless you're a Vikings fan. Tough loss. But enough dilly-dallying. Let's dive in to Falcons Jaguars. So the Atlanta Falcons last week, coming off their first loss on the season. Oh man, it was a rough one. You want to talk about the Lions? We got a couple Lions fans in here. We could talk about the Lions in a couple of ways, but let's just say the Lions have picked up 2 big wins in the span of 4 days. They really took it to the Falcons. And what I was really impressed about most was how their run defense has been playing against both the Falcons and the Packers, 2 teams that really like to run the ball, 2 teams that are typically pretty good at running the ball. And, I mean, look at this. The Lions held Bijan to 10 for 33. And they kind of put the ball in Desmond Ridder's hands. 38 pass attempts. That's got to be like the most pass attempts Desmond Ridder has had in his career in a single NFL game, right? Granted, not too many games, but yeah. I guess he had 32 against the Packers, but I certainly don't think he had 38 last year. No, he did not. So, career high in attempts for Ridder. If you're the Falcons, that's not something you probably want. And they're going up against another pretty good run defense here in the Jaguars. I think it's pretty transparent what the recipe is to slowing down this Falcons team is. It really is. If you can stop the run, you're in decent shape. The Falcons defense still, I think, continues to overachieve. I mean, 20 points against the Lions, that's pretty good. What a world we're living in where we say that, man, if you hold the Lions to 20 points, that's a huge win. But that is the world we're living in. As it looks like we've got another Lions fan in here. Mile Marker is back. Welcome back to the stream, Mile Marker. Lions Pride. Yeah, we've got a Lions crowd right now. Well, we're talking about the Lions. Namely how they kind of took it to the Falcons. The pass rush has been awesome, right? Aiden Hutchinson is starting to get his sacks a little bit. Leads the league in pressures. The other guys have kind of stepped up. How about Aleem McNeil, huh? I don't know about you guys. Like, I was like vaguely aware of Aleem McNeil, but for you Lions fans in here, like, did you guys kind of see this coming? Because he has been playing some incredible football for Detroit. I don't know, like, how familiar you guys have been with his game. Like, if you saw a breakout coming into the year. I personally did not. Not to say that I thought he was a bad player, but he's been a monster. He's been winning a lot. He's pretty good. I don't know what his stats are, but just like watching him play, like, you know, winning from the interior a lot. 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. Lightning says, I'm a Bucks fan. Forget the Lions. Well, we do have some Bucks fans and a Bucks employee in here too, which we have an interesting plot twist potentially in the Bucks game, which that one also kicks off at 1. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. But apparently Derek Carr might be playing now. I don't know. So we might be getting denied a Jameis Winston revenge game. He says, Mile Marker says, Aleem McNeil was a sleeper. Yeah, well, he is realizing his potential. I don't know. This defense has been good. Like, they had that one game against Seattle. Seattle put up 31 on them. But other than that, this defense has been playing some really good football. And I think that's what the Lions were kind of hoping for going into the year, was that their offense would stay at a good level and their defense would improve. And they're looking like one of the best teams in the NFC. I can say this as a Vikings fan pretty confidently. I think they should comfortably win the NFC North. After watching that Packers game on Thursday, I thought maybe Green Bay could put up a challenge, you know, in Lambeau. Maybe they can steal a win. Full disclosure, I actually picked the Packers to win. They had Aaron Jones coming back, Christian Watson coming back, but they were clearly the better team, and they also kind of took over Lambeau Field a little bit. So, but let's see what else. I'll be honest with you, Aleem McNeil, I kind of thought would be pretty good. Brad Holmes has been cooking in the draft. Crazy story is when he was taken, the draft broadcast showed the Eagles sick to their stomach that we picked him before. If you make the Eagles upset that you picked someone, usually that's a good sign if the Eagles want them, because that's another team that's been drafting pretty well. And Grace and Truth says, Lions rush D is solid. It has been. It's been a strong point for them, which was kind of a concern coming into the year, but it's been good. Story of the offseason for him was slimming down 30 pounds, cutting fat, and building speed for the year. Yeah, they did talk about that on the broadcast. I do remember them mentioning that too. So good for him. Good to see that. But, so in a roundabout way, I already kind of summed up the Lions a little bit. I guess that was good to talk about them since they're not playing today. But yeah, Lions, 2 big wins in 1 week. They're now 3-1. They're looking pretty good. And one of the teams they beat was the Falcons, taking on the Jaguars. And it's a tight race so far in the NFC South. I think we all saw that coming. I don't know that we saw it being 3-2-1 teams necessarily. But again, this team's only loss so far has been at the hands of Detroit. A close win over the Packers and then a pretty comfortable win over the Panthers. And looking ahead, I mean, that's kind of the story with this team, right? They have a fairly light schedule. This is one of the tougher games of the year for the Falcons. And going into the year, I thought, okay, this should pretty comfortably be a Jaguars win, right? I mean, we all know how I felt about the Jaguars. I had them as one of my top teams in the AFC. Trevor Lawrence was my MVP pick. Everything was good, right? Oh, they're in the good place, right? Well, this team has kind of quickly gone to the bad place. 2 straight losses. 2 kind of ugly performances on offense, which is really interesting. I mean, they lost by 20 to the Texans. There's a lot to unpack with this team. This is like a team, to be honest, that I still think can be pretty good. I don't want to freak out too much over this, right? It's a slow start. They had a slow start last year too, mind you. Like, this was a team that was very up and down, and they didn't really hit their stride until after their bye week. But there have been 2 things, I think, that have been really concerning for this team. And it's been offensively. One of them, I think, has been more expected, and that's the offensive line. The line play has not been great, to say the least, from the Jaguars so far. I want to see how many sacks Trevor Lawrence has taken, because that was sort of his thing, right? He doesn't take sacks. And you see, okay, he only has 6, but there has just been so much pressure in his face when you go and watch the games, and it's concerning considering how quickly he usually gets the ball out, how good he is at avoiding pressure. It was something I kind of glossed over when looking at this team going into the season, right? Like, it was pretty apparent, like, even on paper, like, okay, this offensive line honestly isn't that great. And especially without Cam Robinson, you're counting a lot on the rookie Anton Harrison. Brandon Sheriff has not been that great since they signed him. Like, this is just not a very good unit. But I kind of just was like, yeah, maybe it doesn't really matter because Lawrence is just really good and the receivers should be better. But it has mattered. And maybe that was just an oversight on me. But the offensive line needs to really play better if this Jaguars team wants to play up to their full potential. Because it has really just been, I don't want to say it's sunk their whole operation, because that's not to say Lawrence has been perfect, right? He has not quite played up to the level he probably could. He's still been good, but he has not been perfect. And the receivers have been a little underwhelming too, honestly. I'm going to cough again. Sorry, I've got something caught up here. Again, hopefully it's not too loud, but excuse me. Sorry. Early morning, right? But right, you bring in Calvin Ridley, and the hope is that, well, Ridley becomes the true number 1. Kirk turns into a 2. Zay Jones the 3. You've also got Evan Ingram. And that's just sort of it, right? Like, you don't have to see as much Jamal Agnew, who is a guy that I like in small doses, but I don't know. Jamal Agnew's been getting a fair amount of targets. It looks like he's out. But, and they just haven't been separating as much as I thought they would be either. But that's not the other thing that concerns me. You know, like, I think some of this stuff will course correct. What's really interesting, and I did not know this, actually, until this was brought to my attention last week. Doug Peterson is not calling the plays this year. And that is something that's, like, really curious to me, because he did last year, if I'm not mistaken, and clearly, like, it worked. Like, it was pretty good. Historically, Doug Peterson has been a good play caller. He's been a good coach in this league for a while. I thought he did an excellent job. And he handed it over to Press Taylor. Well, Let's see what Mike Florio says. Doug Peterson calls suggestions that he took play calling duties from Press Taylor false. So I guess people were saying, oh, maybe he took the play calling duties back. Doug is like, no, it's not like that. To be 100% honest, maybe he should, because this offense just has not had the juice that it probably should have with the personnel that they have, the quarterbacks, the receivers, with how good it was last year. A lot of Jaguars fans have complained about Press Taylor, and it's just, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I'm not in the building. I don't know why. I'm sure they have their reasons. But for me personally, I just genuinely am curious as to like why they thought this was the decision they should make. Because it worked last year with Peterson. Who knows? But anyways, we got some more activity in the chat here. Early, but seeing CJ Stroud cut them up like a pastry of beef Wellington was a surprise. Yeah, CJ Stroud has looked really, really good. And he's done it with subpar receivers and a banged up offensive line. And his stats look great and his tape looks great. I mean, he is making like mature, smart, like veteran quarterback plays. I know you might not like hearing that as someone that doesn't like Ohio State. I don't know like how much that disappears though once they go into the NFL. They're no longer with the Buckeyes. But a lot of the pre-draft concerns with CJ Stroud of like, oh, like he's in this Ohio State offense. Everything is so easy for him, right? There was that one, like, was it S2 test or something, testing his processing, which apparently he did bad at. But none of that has shown up on the field. He's easily been the best rookie quarterback so far. And I don't know. It's early, but he looks like a good pick for Houston. Like the pre-draft comp was like, okay, his ceiling is like he could be a guy like Dak Prescott maybe. He looks like he might be on his way to that. We'll see. Unsure about my picks for today. Lots of changes since preseason. Yeah, I feel that, mile marker. I feel that. I mean, that's why they play the games, right? That's kind of the beauty of this sport is that, you know, crazy things happen. But also, love to rehash the Trayvon pick. Still super early, but man, could you imagine if Jackson had Hutch? Not that I'm complaining. Yeah, again, I mean, I said this in our group chat earlier this week. Hutch is clearly the better player right now. I'm still holding out hope for Trayvon Walker. He had an awesome week 1. He's kind of cooled down a little bit. But again, like he's very good against the run. Like that is kind of his floor. And that's not a terrible floor. I mean, his impact on this run defense has shown up. They improved a lot last year. They've maintained that level. He makes plays in the running game. They also do a lot of like zone blitzes where they'll drop the edge back into coverage and they'll like rush another linebacker to like confuse the offense. And he's a guy that you can do that with because he is good in coverage. He did play a little bit of coverage back at Georgia. So he does bring some stuff to the table. But for a first overall pick, you just have not seen the production rushing the passer that you would like to see yet. And you've seen flashes, right? You can almost taste it. It's there. But he just does not have enough moves yet. Like if he can't win with a bull rush, he just can't he doesn't use his hands enough. He pretty much has to count on like overpowering the guy in front of him. And you just can't like rely on that as your only way to win in the NFL. So again, it's early, right? He learned this position last year. This is going to be his 4th game this season. But you would still like to see more, and I'm sure like deep down, yeah, the Jaguars would absolutely rather have Hutchinson right now. Maybe they overthought it. Maybe they got swept up in the tools. I get it. I think this Jaguars front office is one of the few, if only, that would have picked Trayvon Walker first overall because their general manager, Trent Baalke, just loves his toolsy guys. I don't know. I'm still holding out hope that he can turn into a really good player. Even at his floor, I still think he's solid. It's just a little frustrating because he can't rush the passer, and you really want that from a top-end edge rusher, and he just hasn't offered that yet. But Game Sol says Cam Robinson coming back week 5, I think, so he could help the Jags O-line when he comes back. Last year, Doug played the first half, and Press played the second half of games. Interesting. I actually did not know that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I wonder why they do that. I don't know. But, yeah, Cam Robinson should help this team a lot, too. Again, like, I am not off the Jaguars bandwagon yet. I mean, they were legitimately, like, inches away from beating the Chiefs. If the end zone was, like, a foot or two wider or deeper back, they might have won this game versus the Chiefs. The Texans, I mean, that was just a poor showing all around. CJ Stroud played awesome. The offensive line was getting gobbled up. It just was a bad game all around by the Jaguars. They have an interesting stretch coming up, though. Falcons and Bills, both in London. So this is a big game for this Jaguars team because otherwise they might be looking at like a 4-game losing streak. You really don't want that. This is an important game for both teams, but especially if the Jaguars want to be like a legit contender in the AFC, this is a get right game for them. And it's not going to be like an easy game. Like the Falcons, man, for as much as I've like picked against them, and I'll get to my pick in a second. They're a tough out. Like they're looking pretty good right now. Their defense has overachieved. The running game obviously has a very high ceiling. The weapons are there. The consistency hasn't been there in the passing game, but like you do have those threats you have to worry about. I don't know. This will be a close game, I feel like. I'm hoping for a good game here. I think there's a good chance that we have a 1-score game here. I don't know what the line is, but let's see. Jacksonville 3.5-point favorites. I feel like that's pretty fair. I'm just happy CJ Stroud got his introduction to Indy in the NFL and not in the Big Ten. If you know, you know. Also, what happened to James Robinson? Crazy that running backs just Thanos snap. I can't fully explain that, to be honest. I mean, he had a very productive rookie season, and then he just kind of disappeared. I don't know if that was an Urban Meyer thing. I don't know if that was just we're a bad team and we're going to run this guy into the ground thing, and he gets 1,000 yards and he looks great in fantasy, but in reality we want to move on. I mean, they drafted ETN right after he had his great year. I don't even know if he's in the league anymore. I know he got traded to the Jets last year, but that's a name I haven't thought about in a while. He's on the Giants now. Interesting. Has he seen the field at all? Well, now it shows the NFL logo, which leads me to believe he's a free agent. Well, maybe he's just out of the league now. That's tough, man. 1,000-yard rusher to out of the league. Man. Yeah, 29 carries for 85 yards last year with the Jets. Only 81 carries the year before. That's just kind of how it is for running backs. It stinks. It's unfortunate, but... Also, Aiden O'Connell is starting for the Raiders. Let's freaking go. I'm low-key excited for that. That's going to be fun. As much as I've loved Jimmy, I don't know, he got hurt. He did not have the greatest game last week. Let's see what the kid can do. If I do play prize picks today, I might be going Devontae Adams over receptions. It just seems like when new QBs come in, they always latch on to the top guy. The line is at 5.5 right now. And O'Connell looked really good in preseason. Caden's in here. Welcome to the stream, Caden. Says, this isn't a British accent. I'm sorry, mate. Oh, you ready for some proper football? Let me have my coffee. Oh, Jaguars and Falcons. Huge game across the pond. Falcons trying to stay atop the table. You know, I was deciding between like either Toy Story theme or British theme, and I guess I just decided on neither. But I might check in on the Toy Story broadcast in a little bit. I'm a little curious to see how that does. I have the regular one up right now. Those Toy Story edits that ESPN made go pretty hard, though. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you saw Jesse hit the gritty. That was pretty sick. Gabe says, Gordon Ramsay. What I would do to go to the Gordon Ramsay Food Mart right now and look at how I want to spend my money, if you know what I'm saying. And I'm not just talking the backyard burger. Never mind, my bad. Thanks, mate. All right, 5 minutes to kick off. Let's pick this game, shall we? I feel like we've talked about both teams a little bit. Falcons coming off a tough loss, trying to get right. Jaguars coming off a tough loss, trying to get right. Both these teams with playoff aspirations. It's in London, across the pond. So, who is going to win? As we get Just Jalen back in here saying hello. Welcome to the stream, Jalen. How's it going? Good to see you back in here. You got that Sunday ticket ready for today? We got another great slate going on. Ryland is watching. Let's go. Welcome to the stream, Ryland. Skull Vikes. I know you're a Packers fan, but Skull Vikes. Anyways, all right. So, I know I'm not going to do this again. Just kidding. Yes, I am. For the fourth time this season, for the fourth straight time, I'm picking against the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta, I am so sorry, right? I am so sorry. But I have a reason for it. What did I talk about earlier? This Jaguars run defense has been really good. As a whole, this Jaguars defense has been solid. They had a rougher showing last week against the Texans, but as a whole, this Jaguars defense has been pretty good. The pass rush has been a little inconsistent, but they've shown flashes of being dominant, right? Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker were awesome week 1. They've kind of fallen off a little bit, but they're really good against the run. They've gotten some takeaways. Andre Sisco's played pretty well. Tyson Campbell's played pretty well so far. Overall, I like this Jaguars defense versus the Falcons offense because they counter their biggest strength and they get takeaways. Desmond Ridder, I believe, leads the league in turnover-worthy plays. I mean, just watching him play, again, I'm sorry, right? I have been merciless with Desmond Ridder on this channel. But if you watch a Falcons game, man, I mean, seriously, like, how many times does he just, like, make a throw that, like, goes right into the chest of a defender and they can't catch it? Like, that, there have just been, like, mind-boggling throws that just, like, what is going on here? And defenses have not fully made him pay yet. I think this Jaguars defense can make him pay for those throws. The Jaguars also, I don't know, they're a little more comfortable in London, as lame as that sounds. The Falcons have been here too under Arthur Smith, but this is kind of a home game for them. I don't know how much that's going to matter, but and another thing that I think really helps is that this Jaguars weakness, right, the offensive line, well, they get maybe a chance to get right against this not so great Falcons pass rush. For as pleasantly surprising as this Falcons defense has been, the pass rush still has just not been there. I mean, look at this, right? I believe they have 3 sacks on the season. Yeah, look at that. 3 sacks on the season so far. That's it. This is a good game to maybe keep Trevor Lawrence clean a little bit longer, give him some more time to throw. I do think it's going to be a close game. I like the 3.5-point line. I'm not even sure if the Jaguars are going to cover. I'm going to go Jacksonville wins 27-24. I'm going to go with a close one. Jalen says Jags 24, Falcons 13. I mean, if the Jaguars defense really comes to play, it's possible. I just cannot trust Desmond Ridder. I'm sorry. If the Jaguars run defense shows up and they put the ball in Desmond Ridder's hands, I truly just cannot trust him to win this game. That was the case last week. I don't see why it can't be the case again this week. It will be close, though. I am curious to see how these first few drives go. If the Falcons come out and they like go on like an 80-yard drive to start things off and like they get the running game going, then if you're the Jaguars, maybe you're like, oh crap, right? But again, there's a clear game plan to beating this team. You just get out ahead early and you force the ball into Desmond Ridder's hands. I don't know. If I'm a Falcons fan, I just hold my breath every time they drop back to pass. But the Jaguars got to keep Lawrence clean. Like, if Trevor Lawrence gets batted around again, then that's when you really start to worry. And Cam Robinson coming back is going to help. But, man, there's only so much one left tackle can do. And if this Falcons pass rush can get home, you really get concerned. Ted is back in here. Welcome, Ted. Ted says Jacksonville 17, Atlanta 13. All right. So we've got a bit of a mix right now. We've got Gabe going with the Falcons. A few people going with the Jags here. They just finished up God Save the Queen. And, oh, wait, did they switch the channel for me? I don't think so. Anyways, let's join live here. It was showing it anyways, so I don't know what the deal is, but we're on ABC now. What I think I am going to do is I'm going to just like keep this screen up this time so that you guys can see like the game cast, see like the play at least on this ESPN screen, so you guys get a better sense of what I'm seeing and I don't get this stream taken down by the NFL. And then of course, like during commercial breaks, we're going to be popping over here during halftime commercial breaks, breaking down these games. Because again, there's a lot to talk about. We have only scratched the surface of what this week has to offer so far. I'm very excited for football to be back. It's been a very long and busy week for me. And I won't lie, like I do have some stuff I need to take care of later today. So I might only be able to watch like the 1 o'clock slate. But it's a pretty light 4 o'clock slate. There's only 3 games, which is kind of interesting. This game might be a slaughter, but hey, Taylor Swift is going to be there, so Man. But Gabe says, really smart. Be aware of getting spoiled. Yeah, I'm aware that like this might be like a second ahead. I'm just going to try and like stare at the screen for as much as I can. Like the TV screen, not the computer screen. Because I'm aware like, YouTube TV, usually they're like a few ticks behind. It is what it is. But that way you guys can just get a slightly better sense of what I'm seeing down on the field too. And then, eventually one day I can finally purchase this Stream Deck, get some graphics made, and then we can have our own Dr. Pigskin score bug. That would be something, wouldn't it? But yeah, it's game time. 9:31 now. They're shaking hands. I'm excited for this game. I have not sat down and watched a full Jaguars game yet this season, so I'm interested to see how this goes. And I'm sure this has been talked about a lot already on other platforms, but hey, Calvin Ridley revenge game. Or is it a Falcons revenge game? Some Falcons fans might spin it that way too. But, Calvin Ridley against his old team. A juicy storyline, to say the least. I saw a tweet today that, like, under the new rules, like, Calvin Ridley would still be suspended technically, which is, I don't know, that's just wild. I totally understand the NFL wanting to crack down on gambling. Like, I get it. Like, it's a can of worms that you just don't want to open. You want to, like, set a precedent. You don't want any players to get any idea. But, man, a year suspension? A whole season? Just considering some of the suspensions we see for some of the other stuff that players have done. A year? I don't know. That's a lot. Again, I don't know. I get it. I get the NFL. Like, they just don't want that in the game. I honestly understand, but a year is a lot. But he's back now. He's been up and down. He's looked awesome at times, but I don't know. Could be better. Let's see. The inactives for both teams. Relatively healthy. That's good to see. Looks like there's not really too many big names out. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Well, we know that there is a touchback on the kickoff. All right. If there's a way here, whatever. We're just going to try and pay attention to the other screen. I don't know. I'll figure out something. Look at that. They're waving the flags. London is up and ready for this one. I'm not sure what time it is over across the pond, but time for a proper Sunday morning of footy. Oh, man. Just wait till the Germany game. All right, here we go. All right. European football. NFL style. 2 messages retracted. Disregard. All right. So here we go. Let's see what this Jaguars offense has in store for us here. I'm going to try and move it just a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Like, I could see in my peripheral, like, movement on my computer screen. I might need to figure out something else because, like, the temptation to look is just awful. Or maybe I should just suck it up. I also want to, like, look at the camera some, too. Like, I don't want to just, like, be doing this the whole time. But Ted says they should be 5 hours ahead of Eastern time zone, I think. Interesting. Well, thank you for the nugget. Ted, man, you are just an encyclopedia, always dropping knowledge. They're going to start off with the run up the gut. Not bad. So, yeah, show me what you got, Jacksonville offense. Put together some points here on this first drive. There's been a lot of chatter, right? Disappointing. You're 1-2, certainly not where you want to be as you enter a difficult 2-game stretch over in London. 4-yard rush to start things off, not bad. They're going to go under center again here. Interested to see if they get Ridley involved early. They're running out of time here. They got to get the snap off. There you go. ETN again. All right. How has the Falcons' run defense been this year, if there's any Falcons fans in here? I feel like they've been all right. You know, they were pretty good against the Packers, I feel. Again, like this has been a pretty opportunistic defense that has made plays when they've needed to. They were pretty good against the Panthers. All right. Third down and 2 though. That's a decent spot to be in if you're Jacksonville. Again, you don't want to find yourself in 3rd and long. The quicker you can get the ball out, the better. Hit those short underneath throws. They might just run it again. Oh yeah, look at that. Easy to ETN, manufactured first down. All right. So they're going with the easy stuff early. I like that. Get your quarterback in rhythm. Get ETN in rhythm. Is that 3 straight touches for him? Didn't he have a good game in London last year too against the Broncos? Or am I mistaken? Gabe says, I wish I was Ted. Me too. I wish I had a brain as big as him. I have learned so much from Ted. He's been one of the top contributors on this channel. Another run. Is that Bigsby? Yeah. All right, so 3 runs and 1 pass so far, and it was a quick pass. I think this shows a team that just, like, does not want Lawrence to get hit because that was just such a problem last week. I want to give a shout out to Will Anderson. He had himself a game. He's looking pretty good. He might be the Aiden Hutchinson of this year's class in that, like, you know, he's a pretty good player. Very, very basic analysis, but both Aiden Hutchinson and Will Anderson look like good players. Look at that, another quick throw. Falcons ready for that one. Good play. Nothing after the catch. Trying to get it to Ingram. Here you go. Now here's a 3rd and long. This is a chance where maybe the Falcons can stand up a little bit. 3rd and 6. I mean, look at how quickly Lawrence got that ball out. Just as soon as he's taking the snap, he's letting it rip. Are they going to go to Ridley here? This is kind of what they got him for, right? What do I always say? Go get a bucket. Go get a bucket. Oh, I just saw a video pop up. I have no idea what to make of that. All I see is just like this square of what is supposed to be a video. Oh, now we got a penalty. Oh, Grady Jarrett coming in, touching Lawrence. Let's see, what's the call here? If it's on the defense, if it's like encroachment, it's not a first down. Timeout Jacksonville. Interesting. Okay, so timeout Jags. Let's see if they go to commercial break or not. Man, you don't want to be burning a timeout that early. It's the first half. I guess second half timeouts are a little more valuable. They must have not liked what they saw down on the field. Because, I don't know, you just, first drive, you're burning a timeout. You don't want that. And, well, I got it spoiled for me. Oh, my gosh. All right, we might have to go away from this because, I don't know, it's just... I know what's going to happen now. Curse you, YouTube TV, for being behind. We're gonna switch back to the full screen, and then we'll like switch back like to my computer screen during commercial breaks to kind of talk about this week. And if any of you guys have any talking points you want me to go over, right? Any fantasy questions, betting questions, any games you want me to highlight, like I'm gonna try and cover all the games, but just let me know. Well, we know what's going to happen here. Looking for Ingram. We didn't know how it happened. Looks like he just missed him there. He might have had a step on him. All right. Falcons defense forcing a punt early. Good start for them. Good start for Atlanta. Let's see this play back again. Yeah, he had Ingram. Just wasn't quite able to hook up with him. Looked like it kind of hit him in the hands, but it was maybe just a hair too far out. Could have been a little bit better of a throw. Also, I can still get this spoiled here on this screen. You guys can't see it, but I've got like the scores up, and I can see the Falcons game. Oh, nice punt coverage job right there. Look at that. Batting the ball back in. Playing the field position game. All right. So the Falcons are going to be pinned back deep. Their first drive. There's a look at Big Ben. Big Ben Parliament. Never seen that movie, actually, but I know the reference. All right. So, commercial break. First commercial break of the day. We're going to dive in. All right. Let's look at Vikings Panthers. Oh, the Vikings. Oh, the Vikings, the Vikings, the Vikings. So, as you guys might notice, I'm rocking a different jersey today. I'm rocking the EK54, and there's a couple of reasons for that. So, for one, desperate times call for desperate measures. The Vikings are now 0-3. Their season maybe is over, as pessimistic as that sounds. We talked about last week, right? Only 4 times in NFL history has a team started 0-3 made the playoffs. Well, it would be awesome to become number 5, but we're kind of going up against it. But you know what? Just getting a win would be nice, even if we don't make the playoffs. Some fans want us to tank for Caleb Williams. And yeah, that would be awesome. But also, winning is kind of nice. It would be nice to get in the win column. For the people that might know me personally, they know the backstory behind this jersey. This was my lucky jersey last year. Obviously, Eric Kendricks is no longer on the team this year, but we're pulling it out because we need the good vibes that this jersey brought last year. The Vikings had an incredible year. All their wins came when I was wearing this jersey last year. It became known as the EK54, so that's one reason. A second reason, and a little bit more serious, is that Eric Kendricks' dad actually passed away the other day, and Eric Kendricks is one of my all-time favorite Vikings. I think I can speak for all Vikings fans when I say that he is still a beloved member of this organization. So you know what? We stand with you, Eric Kendricks. I think he's actually going to play today, which is pretty impressive. He's been injured throughout the season, but I believe he is going to play today. But yeah, Eric Kendricks is in my thoughts and prayers, and I hope he has a great game today. And you know what? This game is for you, Eric. We love you, EK. But yeah, playing the Panthers. Best friend in St. Paul area. Winning is the point. Yeah, I mean, it is the point. Look at that. They're already back. So I guess we'll dive into this game. I mean, we can multitask a little bit, but 2 0-3 teams. I think I can say this pretty objectively even that the Vikings are a better team than the Panthers. They really need to take care of business and win this game. If the Vikings don't win this game, then that is a little concerning. It is in Carolina, but man, I mean, the Panthers have just looked inept on offense so far. Although Thielen kind of had a good game last week. First play for the Falcons, they go to Bijan, wrapped up nicely. Is that Cisco making a play? Yes, it is. Shout out Andre Cisco. What a player he's turned into. He's a great player. But the Vikings are clear favorites, right? 4.5-point favorites. ESPN Matchup Predictor likes them. The passing game has been there, right? That's been the story this season. They will put up yards and they'll get some big plays. Jefferson's been awesome. Kirk has been playing pretty well. But again, it's just been an imbalanced team. They did actually run the ball fairly well last week, but the defense is just, man, I can't even put all of it on Flores. It's just the personnel that we have right now. It's a very young defense. Algier up the middle. Falcons going Bijan first carry, Algier second carry. All right. Here we go, though. 3rd and long for the Falcons. Here's where the ball gets put in Ritter's hands. You know what? Go make a play here. Pick up that first down, Desmond. Kind of calm the nerves a little bit. Show me something. It's 3rd and 9, right? Jaguars defense pumping up the crowd. Go make a play. Go get at the Drake London or Kyle Pitts. Or even use your legs. You know, his legs are a pretty good asset. He can move. Oh, here comes the rush off to Bijan in space. Oh, Bijan. Oh, he's going to be just short. Good effort by Bijan. Look at that. Man, it's just so hard to bring him down in the open field. Oh, man, that was close. Look at this. Whoop. Oh, that is awesome. Man, he is so good. So close. Oh, there goes his ankles. What a special player. 4th and 2, though. Great effort. Mile Marker says condolences to his family and be right back. Appreciate it. Thank you. I guess I should not appreciate it as much as he is. Obviously, he doesn't know that this stream exists, but we're with him. Another good punt. All right. Good coverage there by the Falcons. Jaguars get the ball back. Ted says, with how the NFC is, I won't count the Vikings out. Do you think they may trade Cousins in the season? It's really going to depend on these next few games. I'm not counting them out yet either because, like, I don't know, crazy stuff happens, and you would like to think that some of this, like, evens out. Like, they should not be 0-3 probably, right? Although, to be fair, they probably shouldn't have been 13-4 last season. 2 of their next 3 games, they should win, right? This one, whatever. They probably won't win. I'm going to be there. I'm beyond excited for that. But they probably won't win. I mean, again, any given Sunday, but they probably won't win. I think the goal is you want to pick up 2 of the next 3 games here But man, like they've got a tough looking schedule. That's the thing though. Like Panthers and Bears, but then you've also got the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Packers in Lambeau, which isn't easy, the Falcons on the road, which won't be easy, the Saints, the Broncos, they should take care of business, hopefully. I think this game is on Sunday Night Football for some reason. Yeah, I don't know why, to be honest. Even like at the beginning of the season when the schedule is released, it's like, why is this a Sunday night game? But it is. There is a path to like maybe 9 wins for this team if they can fix a few things. Is 9 wins enough? It might be. Again, we're really splitting hairs here. I do think, though, again, I try and say that I'm an optimistic Vikings fan, but I will admit, like, when they start losing, I can get a little pessimistic. I try and be fairly objective with this team. I recognize that this team is very good at one thing, and that's passing the ball. But outside of that, this team doesn't really have a strength. They don't really have a way they can win other than, like, throwing for 500 yards. The defense is just so young, and the scheme they play maybe isn't the greatest fit, although it is a big upgrade over what we were running last year with all this passive, like, heavy cushion, like, off-man coverage stuff. That was just infuriating to watch. And again, no disrespect, but, like, the Vikings just kind of need better players to run the defense that they're running, but they're trying, and honestly, like, their defense has fought like heck. You can't even blame the defense that much. It's just been imbalanced offensive attack, right? Going 3 and out at a bad time, inopportune turnovers, taking a bad sack here or there, and then just like letting up big plays occasionally on defense. That has been like what has lost the Vikings these 3 games. Like TJ Hawkinson with the fumble and then dropping what was a beautiful throw by Cousins, which led to the game-ending interception. Like, it's just little stuff like that that adds up, and it's just all gone against the Vikings so far. It's frustrating. Do I think that they might trade Cousins during the season? I think they'd have to have a pretty bad record. I think it's important to note that Kirk Cousins has a no-trade clause, so he would need to give the green light. By all accounts, he likes Minnesota. I think the only way I could see him getting traded is if the Jets gave us a pretty good haul and Kirk was like, all right, fine, I'll go play in New York. But also, I can't really see him in New York. He doesn't seem like, I don't know. I would say it's probably pretty low odds that Kirk Cousins gets traded in the middle of the season. Also, look at Trevor Lawrence take off. There's that athleticism. He can move, people. He can move. Let him run. Design some more runs for him. I know you don't want your quarterback taking a hit, but let him cook. 21-yard scamper right there. I don't think he will get traded, though. I would say there's like a 5% chance. If it makes sense, though, I think we should pull the trigger. But I just don't foresee a situation happening where, 1, we'll get a good enough offer, and 2, where Cousins will actually agree to it. That is the big thing. Cousins will need to agree to it. Realistically, I think he just plays out the rest of the season, and then we move on in some capacity. I don't think we'll extend him, especially with how the season has started. There's Lawrence running again. They're not out of it. They need to win this game, though. If they lose this game, they go to 0-4. They lose to the Panthers, they're out of it. And the Panthers, man, I don't envy the Panthers because they are 0-3. They look like one of the worst teams in football, and they don't have their first-round pick. It's tough. It is tough out here, right? I was on the Panthers train. I think Bryce Young is going to play in this game. Dalton actually looks pretty good in their last game, but obviously you want to see Bryce Young play. You need to get him those reps. I don't know what to make of this team. The defense looked good at the beginning of the year, but they've taken some pretty bad injuries. The offense has not been good. Maybe I was wrong about the offensive line. Maybe the offensive line isn't that great. Maybe they did take a step back, right? I really stuck my neck out for this team, and they just have not been good. And I'm willing to take the L with the Panthers. They have not looked like a good team so far. They might be one of the worst teams in the NFL. So this should be a winnable game for the Vikings. No J.C. Horn for the Panthers, right? The secondary is pretty weak outside of him. Justin Jefferson should be in line for a big game. I think the only way the Panthers can really win is if they get Miles Sanders going, if the defense can get pressure. And it's kind of like the Bucs game where like The Vikings get a lot of yards, but they only score 17 points. They get a few turnovers, and they win like 20-17. The Bucs game is the blueprint for this Panthers team. So Trevor Lawrence almost taking a sack there. Had to throw the ball away. 4th and 1 is the Jag. Are the Jags going for it? They are. All right, here we go. Big play here. 4th and 1. Enough about the Vikings. Let's turn our attention to this game for a second. 4th down and 1. What do they got up their sleeve? Lawrence has some time. Ooh, nice throw. Christian Kirk, first down. Big time pickup for the Jaguars. All right, they're starting to put together a drive here a little bit. Also, you want to talk about revenge game, which Adam Thielen isn't ready to call it, but Adam Thielen playing against his old team. Interested to see how much he's involved this week. He's heard the washed allegations, right? He's seen JT O'Sullivan and the QB school call him out, 19 on the Panthers. He had a vintage game last week, 11 catches for 145 yards and a touchdown. What? It's been a minute since he's put up those numbers. Good for Adam. Fresh set of downs here for the Jags. Looks like we're going to go to commercial. But to make my pick for this Vikings-Panthers game here, I'm going to go Vikings win a fairly close one. I'm going to say the Vikings win by 10 here. I'll go Vikings 27, Panthers 17. It has been a while since the Vikings have really just taken care of business. If you really want to know an interesting stat, how about this, all right? For you guys in the chat, I'll give you a second to guess here. When do you think was the last time the Vikings have won by 3 scores? Also known as, when is the last time the Vikings have won by 17 points? 17 points. It's like a decent amount, but it's a nice, comfortable win, a 17-point win. When do you think was the last time the Vikings have done that? I looked that up today, and I could not believe my eyes, but also I kind of could from watching this team recently. But what year do you think it was? It has been a minute since this team has just gone out and taken care of business. It's always a close game. It is fun, but also, man, I think it just kind of speaks to where this organization has been over the past few years. They have been kind of trapped in no man's land where they've had the ceiling of being oh, they'll get into the playoffs, but they have not been a tier 1 team for a while. It's a little frustrating, right? I was clamoring for a rebuild for a while, especially at the end of the Zimmer-Spielman era, because the roster was getting old and it just felt like it was time to reboot. But as a fan, rebuilding is just a tough pill to swallow. Seeing your team start 0-3, it's nice in theory of oh, we're going to get younger and start over and build up fresh, but it still is kind of it kind of stinks to actually do. The Vikings haven't had a true rebuild since 10 years ago when they brought in Mike Zimmer. But Ted says 2008, last time with Favre. Oh, that would have been crazy if it had been that long. It was not quite that long, but I will say, when they had Favre, they were really taking care of business. It was 2019. It was against the Chargers, ironically enough. That was the year they made the playoffs and beat the Saints with Kirk. That was back when the Chargers were playing in their soccer stadium. But yeah, they beat the Chargers. I believe it was 39-20 or something like that. But no, they blew the Chargers out. It was December of 2019. But that's kind of crazy. December of 2019. We're talking pre-COVID was the last time that this team won by 3 or more scores. That is just crazy to me. But I'll say the Vikings take care of business as well as they can. 10-point victory for the Vikings. Man, they need it. Man, they need it. Game of the week. We'll talk about this one after this drive because there's a lot to unpack with this one too. Man, I wish ESPN would just mute their videos. Trevor on the run. Downfield. Touchdown. Calvin Ridley. Oh, what a play by Trevor Lawrence to Ridley. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my days. It's Calvin Ridley to open the scoring. There's the dream start for the Jaguars. Magic. The magic from Trevor Lawrence. Oh, it's Christian Kirk. Wait, or is the graphic wrong? I swear it was Calvin Ridley. Right? Number 0. Was ESPN just wrong? Look at that. He's just bare naked in the end zone. Blown coverage. Yeah, it was Ridley. Okay. ESPN is tripping. bare naked in the end zone. Touchdown. Calvin Ridley against the Falcons. Wow. Lawrence escaping the pressure, and he's just wide open. I mean, I don't know if the safeties and the corners are just not on the same page there. Look at that throw on the run. He's getting hit. Honestly, as long as he got the throw off, it was pretty easy. Like, just a crazy amount of separation. Look at the smile on Trevor Lawrence's face. The Jaguars are back. Jaguars football is back. Let's go. All right, 7-0. Explosive start here across the pond. What a play. Lawrence to Ridley. And with that, we're going to go into game of the week. Dolphins, Bills. We have been treated to some great games the last times that these two teams have gotten together. Back in December, these two teams played in the snow in Buffalo. It was awesome. It was a close game. There was the snowballs being thrown at players. The Bills were able to gut that one out. It was a close game. But it was a big game for Miami, too. Right? That was one of the concerns with this team coming into the year. Is like, can they win those ugly games? They didn't really do it last year. But the one game that you looked at that you kind of held out hope was that Bills game in the snow. Like, they played pretty well. They hung in with Buffalo on the road in tough conditions against a tough defense. They didn't win, but it's like, okay, that's a little encouraging. And then they met in the playoffs, too, with Skylar Thompson. And they, took the Bills down to the wire. And then early on in the season, they played in Miami in the Heat, and that was when the Dolphins won, even though the Bills gained 500 yards or something like that. And you saw the frustrated Ken Dorsey, Bills offensive coordinator, throwing his stuff around. So we've had some great games between these two teams recently, and I just can't help but feel like these might be two of the three best teams in the AFC alongside the Kansas City Chiefs. The Miami Dolphins scored 70 points last week. They set an NFL record for most yards gained in a game. I mean, excuse me. Look at this. What do you do with this? Their backup running back went for 200 yards. Raheem Mostert leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns. Tua Tagovailoa had a Dawson, in which he had more touchdowns than incompletions. Mike White went 2 for 2 with 67 yards and a touchdown. What do you do? Tyreek went for 157. I mean, this was without Jalen Waddle, arguably a top 10 receiver in this league. This is a team that has just really played up to their full potential so far, right? Offensive fireworks week 1, Tua making those plays out of structure got me really excited. It's like, man, if he can keep doing that, this team might be really good. Then week 2, they go into Foxborough against a really good defense, tough conditions, tough game, and they eke it out. And it's like, man, maybe this team is really good. And then week 3, they score 70. And it's like, man, maybe this team is really good. But now they get the ultimate test. Big division game on the road against the Bills, a team that has looked a lot better the last few weeks, right? My Super Bowl pick, the Buffalo Bills, they have played like a Super Bowl team the last few weeks. And that's all I'm going to give you guys for now. The Falcons get the ball back. Let's see what they've got cooking. But wait, we will dig deeper into this game because, oh man, there's a lot of different angles you can attack with this one. I'm excited to see how these two teams come out and play. That is the game I'll have on the second screen. I might not even have Red Zone on my second screen, right? It's going to be the Vikings game, and it's going to be this game. I'm excited. Jalen says Jags draw first blood. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Can the Falcons respond? Big drive. Atlanta can still run the ball in this situation. Absolutely. They probably will. Pistol here. Look at Bijan. Just get him out in space. Set up a screen. Not much doing there, but it's a few yards. It is fascinating to see how much the Falcons move Bijan all over the field, right? They had him in the slot out there. You will see that a lot. He plays a lot of slot and he plays a lot out wide. That's one thing I really like Pro Football Focus for. When I have a question where has Bijan Robinson played, right? How much has he been in the backfield versus out at wide receiver? You can actually go see that. They're going to motion Pitts back and forth. He's in the slot. Uh-oh, we got a jumper. That should help. Chase on jumping there. He's been a little disappointing. Little might be putting it lightly. Looking like it's going to be encroachment, neutral zone infraction, whatever you want to call it. Still third down, though, for the Falcons, I believe. It's close. I think it is still, yeah. But that helps a lot, right? Now you're in that spot where, like, maybe you can just, like, run it for a few yards. That's a big penalty. 3rd and 1. Look at that. They're coming out in empty, for now at least. Yeah, look at that. Bijan now in tight. Are they going to go to him? They wanted to. Uh-oh. Ritter goes down. Man, okay. I have some qualms with that play call. I don't know. Again, and it's easy for me to second guess here from my apartment. But it's 3rd and 1. You've built up this offensive line in this running game for like 3 years now. And you're going to come out and empty and pass it? Like, why? Just run it. Get the 1 yard. I just can't help but feel like that was not a good play call. They should have just ran the ball, picked up that 1 yard. Now you're looking at 4th and 9. You can't even entertain going for it on 4th down if you really wanted to be aggressive. Now you're punting this ball back to a Jaguars team that just capped off a touchdown drive. Now you're at the risk of going down 2 scores. Not somewhere you want to be. I did not love that play call from Arthur Smith, to be 100% honest. It's 1 yard. I don't know. Just run it right here. Even a field goal, you feel pretty good. Make this Falcons team play from behind. I sound like a broken record. I get it. But that is the recipe. Coffee chocolate milk mixture hitting extra good this morning. I think I finally found the perfect ratio where I get just enough of the flavor of both. I still get that nice bitterness of the coffee. I'm usually someone that just drinks my coffee black, but I don't know, Sunday mornings or sometimes when I just need that extra boost, like I just like to spice it up a little bit. I am 10 years old. I do love me some chocolate milk. So, I don't know. It's a fun little tradition I have for these streams. All right. Show me what you got here. ETN again. They've been getting him involved early. Oh, he just couldn't make that guy miss. Got tripped up. Otherwise, he still might have been running. But a good play on 1st down. Robert Alford. Has he been on the Falcons this whole time? Robert Alford. Hold on. Is that the guy I'm thinking of? He's a free agent. Is this a different Alford? Yeah, he has not been in the league since 2021, and he was on the Cardinals. Interesting, because that's the guy that picked off Tom Brady, right, in the Super Bowl to make it that infamous score. I don't know. Maybe they have a different Alford. That is kind of a weird coincidence. ETN again, man. Falcons are kind of getting hit hard on the ground early. Little ironic, right? I don't know. The Jaguars' run game has looked solid. ETN, he is a good player. I got to give props to Travis Etienne, right? He goes down with that injury his rookie year. Liz Frank injury. Those are scary for running backs. Those are hard to come back from. Underrated, like, bad injury. But he's looked pretty good. Look at that. 5 yards to 105 for the Jaguars. Play action. Lawrence has time. Another strike down the field. Good catch by Kirk. He's still going. Getting Christian Kirk involved now. Nice play by him. That wasn't a perfect throw, but he went down and got the ball. Look at the gravity of Ridley there. Just taking away the attention from Kirk. That's why you bring him in, right? Even when he's not, like, making plays. Like, he is easily the best receiver on this team, and he will open up looks for those other guys. And Kirk is a pretty good number 2 to have. Jaguars starting to cook a little bit. Now they'll go Bigsby. Tough run there. Man, this offense is starting to look a little better. This is the offense I was kind of wanting to see this season. Trevor Lawrence has been given time, and look at that. He's playing well. It's just like a lot was made about like his EPA per play and like a lot of his advanced numbers not looking good. And yeah, like I said, he's not been perfect. But man, like just watching him play, like you could tell he's just so clearly very good. Good to see him play well here. Bigsby again. Oh, he's got a block from Ridley, kind of. Hit him a little bit. Caden says, avoided Travis Etienne in fantasy thinking it would be more of a committee, never avoiding a talented running back for that reason again. Yeah, I mean, that's what's tough about fantasy, right, with running backs. Like, obviously you do want to, like, factor in situation. You want to try and get guys that are going to get a lot of touches. But at the same time, the classic, right? The biggest question you need to ask is, are they good at football? Travis Etienne is a good football player, and sometimes you need to, like, prioritize that. Not to, like, pat myself on the back or anything, but, like, you know, one player I really stayed away from in fantasy this year was Alexander Madison. And it was like, well, like, oh, the backfield is clear for him now. But, like, again, okay, that's, like, the only thing he had going for him, though. He had a solid game last week, though, but there's still, like, there were a few plays, like, down near the goal line, like, in the red zone, which is an area the Vikings have really struggled in this year. Like, Madison had a one-on-one with one of the Chargers' defensive backs. If he beats him, he scores. And, like, usually, especially for a more powerful back, like, you kind of want to beat a defensive back in a one-on-one situation. And if he did, he scored. He didn't, and then the Vikings ended up not getting points on that drive, and it's a little frustrating. I'm curious to see if Cam Akers plays this week. I'm going to look that up right now, actually. Now that he's been with the team a little bit longer. I don't know if he is. Cam Akers. Not a lot of news on him right now. People are just asking if you should start him in fantasy or not. I feel like he should, right? Like, he's been with the team for a while now. He knows the offense. He's played with Kevin O'Connell before. Who knows? We'll see. Madison was stupid inefficient last year, wasn't he? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he didn't even, like, see the ball that much, to be honest. I think for me, the biggest thing was always the eye test. I don't know. Like, even when Madison had good games, like filling in for Dalvin Cook, and like he was like the hero off the waiver wires, like he's just never looked like that great of a back. What I should say is he's never looked like a guy that you want to be like your number one runner. Like he's a pretty good complementary piece, I will say. Like he's got decent power, but he's not a guy that you want to consistently be giving 20 carries a game, and I think that some Vikings fans just kind of expected that because they look at like his game against the Seahawks in 2020 and they're like, "Oh, yes, that every week, please." But I don't know. It was also a very different offense back when we had Mike Zimmer pretty much yelling at our offensive coordinators to run the ball 50 times a game. Whereas now, like, we just pass the ball 50 times a game, which maybe was a bit of an overcorrection, but that's also just kind of how the team is built right now. I wouldn't say he's been stupid inefficient, but like you could just, I don't know. For me, at least, the writing was on the wall. Not to sound like Mr. Smart Guy here, because I was wrong about a lot of players. Let's go back to Dolphins Bills, and we could talk about a player that I was kind of wrong about, right? If you want to talk about a running back that I was wrong about, speaking of the Cook family, how about James Cook? James Cook, I believe, is like either second or third in the NFL in rushing yards right now. He has been playing some inspired football. This Bills team, they have completed their sort of rebrand of like a tougher, more ground and pounds team, right? That can still win through the air. But how about the way that James Cook has been playing? Goes for 123 against the Raiders and then 98 against the Commanders? Not bad, kid. He's looked pretty good too. So I am fully ready to admit that I was wrong about James Cook now. He has looked pretty good this season. I might have jumped to conclusions after the Jets game a little bit. I will take the L on that one. Go Dogs. James Cook playing some good football for the Buffalo Bills right now. Josh Allen has cleaned up his act a little bit, right? He's been playing much better over these past few weeks. This is the Josh Allen you like to see. The crazy throws are back. There's still big plays down the field, but he's also just taking what the defense gives him, right? When you have that big arm, teams are going to play back. They're going to give you that too high safety look. That's something that Patrick Mahomes did an exceptional job of adjusting to. And it's taken a little bit, but Josh Allen, I feel like, is starting to adjust to this cover two heavy scheme a little bit more too now. He still makes plays with his legs, right? Again, not a crazy game against the Commanders last week, but he did what he needed to do. 218 yards, touchdown, a pick, right? Not jaw-dropping, But he's been playing a lot better. He's been playing good football. I still think he's firmly entrenched as the second best quarterback in this league. And the Bills are playing great. All right, we're jumping all around. We will keep this page up because I also think that the audio is just better as Trevor Lawrence gets drilled as he throws. Incomplete. Big stop for the Falcons there on third down. Looking like it'll be a field goal attempt here. But, you know, it won't be an easy kick. That is a big stop from the Falcons D. You certainly do not want to go down 14-0. Yeah, that play was just never there. Good coverage down the field by Atlanta. Jesse Bates flying in. Jesse Bates has been a great signing. Long kick, 56 yards. Oh, he drilled it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, okay. These kickers, man, they're just so good these days. Brandon McManus, he doesn't need Denver's altitude. Look at him boot that one through. That was effortless. These kickers are so good. How about Matt Gay last week going crazy? 4 field goals from 50+. One of the all-time great kicker performances. It is crazy, man. It is crazy how good these kickers are. It's beautiful. Good play by Jesse Bates, though, to force that stop. If you're the Falcons, you live with 3, right? It's better than 14. You got to go respond here on this drive now. But, all right, back to Dolphins-Bills. Mile Marker says, Dolphins been fun to watch, and yay. Yeah, No, this team has been must-see TV, and I am so excited every time they appear on my television set because I want to see what wacky stuff Mike McDaniel's going to do. I feel like most of the people know now what they do with their motion, their in-breakers. I mean, just look at how open Tyreek Hill gets on these plays. I mean, it is incredible how they run their offense. And the defense is probably going to get better. They've been adjusting under a new defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, and they're without their best player on defense, Jalen Ramsey, who will be coming back at some point in the season. Obviously, he's not going to play in this game, but even if the offense takes a step back a little bit, this is a defense I was pretty high on at times, and I just feel like if they get healthy, like, they could be a pretty good unit. The Bills' defense is probably one of the 3 best units in the league so far, though. This Bills defense has been playing amazing. Man, and again, the Bills rebrand. They are playing tough, physical, hard-nosed football. Look at this. 10 points and then 3 points. And then, 22, but 6 of those were off a punt return. They've been shut down. Here's Bijan to start things off for the Falcons. Decent gain. You want to get a few first downs here if you're Atlanta. Try and get some points. You could still get Bijan involved. And Algier. And this Bills defense is also another unit that is probably going to get better. They are without one of their best players, Von Miller, who was playing at a very high level for him last year before he went down with injury. I think I read he's starting to practice this week. He won't be back yet, but he should be back soon. And again, this unit might get better. I honestly don't I don't know what to make of this game. I feel like these two teams are very evenly matched. These two games that they play are probably going to determine who wins this division, I think. Especially with the Jets out of the picture now. It is in Buffalo. I think that's a big reason why Buffalo is 2.5-point favorites. I mean, what is the game plan against this Dolphins offense? Because, it seems like Miami's just had a counter for everything so far. That has been the staple of all these Shanahan guys. It's built on countering. You do something, right? Then defenses try and figure it up, and then you counter it. You keep breaking the rules pretty much. Now, what the Dolphins have been doing so far has just been working, just straight up. So I don't even know if they need to shy away from it unless the Bills come out playing like gangbusters. Nice first down there for Jonnu Smith, who's been a good acquisition for them. Is that Kyle Pitts lined up as a regular tight end? There's Pitts' gravity. Look at that. All right, Pitts making impacts even when he doesn't get the ball. That's a bit of a topsy-turvy play there. Usually it's Jonnu Smith who's in line and Pitts in the slot, but they switched it up there and it worked. Not much there on that run. But Mile Marker says, I picked the Dolphins, but hope it will be close. I hope so too. I hope we're treated to a good game. I get the vibes of like this isn't going to be like a crazy shootout where both teams score 40. I do think, honestly, both these teams will be hanging around like the 20s, maybe low 30s. I might go with the Bills. I don't know. It's at home. This Bills defense has just been playing so inspired. As weird as it sounds, because I know like the narrative around the Bills is like that they've kind of come up short in big spots sometimes, but I just trust this team a little bit more. It's in Buffalo. I really like this defense. Ritter going deep to Drake London. Oh, that would have been a crazy catch. 3rd down and 9. You know what? Good on Ritter taking a deep shot. That was actually a decent throw. Pretty good coverage downfield. Give your guy a chance to make a sick play. Oh, that was a great play. Look at that. Is that Tyson Campbell? Yeah. Go Dogs. Stand up, Tyson Campbell. Again, like, he's been playing great football. Tyson Campbell. People really slept on this Jaguars defense for reasons I can't understand. Like, I don't know, like their defensive DVOA wasn't good last year, but they're also like 11th in points allowed, and they've got good players. Here comes the pressure. Oh my goodness. That blitz got home quickly. Rayshon Jenkins with a host of different Jaguars back there. Josh Allen getting home. Woohoo! 4th and long. Man, Atlanta was not ready for that blitz whatsoever. There were like 3 guys coming in there unblocked. What happened here? Oh, it was just one guy unblocked, and then the other guy's just one off the edge. But man, good, well-timed blitz right there by Jacksonville. That's actually not Rayshon Jenkins. That is Herndon, which I definitely like know his name because I looked at the Jaguars roster so much this offseason when I was making their video. I cannot remember his name though. But like I know who that guy is. He's like their 3rd safety. But Gabe is back. Bucks flag football starts tomorrow. Went on another run to get my endurance up and also had to prep for game day. And you would go with the Bills. Let's go. Look at that. We got a runner in here. We've got a couple runners in here. We've got a former cross-country and rollerblading superstar in the stream as well. But yeah, heck yeah. Bucks flag football starts tomorrow. Is that like a flag football league for Buccaneers employees? If so, that sounds awesome. You would also go Bills. I think I'm going to go Buffalo 31-28. I really like this Bills team, and that's not a disservice to Miami because they have played as good of a 3 weeks as any team in the league, right? Like if I had to do like a power rankings or like a college football style rankings, if I had to rank the number 1 team, Miami would probably be number 1 right now. They've looked amazing. They've won in different ways. But I'm going with my heart here. I'm going with the Bills in Buffalo with how this defense has played. And I don't know. This could be a game where the Dolphins miss Jalen Ramsey a little bit. You know, for as exciting as that week 1 win against the Chargers was, their defense kind of got worked a little bit. I still don't fully trust Xavier Howard, especially going up against a premier receiver like Stephon Diggs, who he and Allen seem to be clicking a bit more recently. I could actually see this being a game like a more classic Bills game where we see a lot of big plays from Josh Allen. Josh Allen historically owns the Dolphins too. Like he is just like he has put up some ridiculous numbers against the Miami Dolphins. Let's take a look at this. Like, let's see if StatMuse can come through for us here. There's the illustration. For the most part, there's a lot of passer ratings in the triple digits here. I mean, look at this. He historically has played very well against the Dolphins. I could see that trend continuing here again today. I am a little worried about the depth of this Dolphins secondary going up against like Stephon Diggs. I could see a big Allen to Diggs day, maybe a big play from Gabe Davis. And if the going gets tough, if they need to take the air out of the football, if the defense needs to stand up, I trust this defense a little bit more than Miami's. I do think Miami will show up and they will play. Like, I don't think this is like, oh, Miami gets exposed type of game, but I am going to go with the Bills here by 3. Close game. 31-28. I'm excited for it. All right, we'll go back to the scoreboard here. We're back in London. Jaguars about to take the field again. They're up 10-0. a shocking scoreline if it was actual football. 1st and 10. Quick throw. Evan Ingram. Oh, no! Evan Ingram coughed up the ball. He got it back, though. I don't even know if they'll call it a catch. Rollerblading superstar. We're going to need to have a very serious conversation after this stream, Eric. It's all good, man. I mean that with all love. I'm a little scared, though. Oh, man. Ted says, I think Buffalo could win. I think they'll win their second meeting. Miami seems too hot and united, though. I'm picking Miami for this one. I respect it, you know? I could very well see these teams splitting. Optimus Prime. That's not Evan Ingram. Wow. Well, that has kind of been Evan Ingram, but Eric Ebron. I am actually terrified for this serious conversation, though. If I don't stream again, you guys know why. It might be over for me, unfortunately. Oh, man. Falcons are going to challenge us here. They say he coughed up with the football. Do they think they got it back? Maybe they did. I kind of missed that there. That could be a big play. If the Falcons could get this ball back in Jaguars territory. Oh, that is definitely a catch. Look at Jesse Bates punching the ball out. Did he recover it? Why would you cut away? They cut away right before we could see if they recovered it or not. Also, we could see first on the scene, Channel 2 News. Oh, come on, ABC. They cut away right before we could see if they got the ball or not. All right. Well, I guess we're going to be in suspense here. We can transition into Broncos-Bears. Yay. Woohoo. This is certainly a football game. Broncos country, let's ride. This is a team that gave up 70 points last week, and they are favored because they are probably not the worst team in this game. It is in Chicago. Honest to God, Russell Wilson has played well so far. I honestly don't think that you can blame it all on him. I feel like he's actually played good football. The defense has been something, I will say. I don't know. They switched back to Vance Joseph as defensive coordinator. They lost Ejiro. I can't remember how to say his name. He's with the Panthers now. But, man, I mean, the Dolphins, I watched a video by Alex Rollins, who's a fellow football YouTuber. I don't know if any of you guys have watched him before, but he had a pretty good video on pretty much just the complete and utter schematic failure of the Broncos defense last week against Miami. And it's just this is also a team that gave up a lot of points in the second half to the Commanders the week before, and they lost to the Raiders. This is just, again, I was very high on this Broncos team coming into the year. They have looked pretty bad, and it hasn't even really been that much on Russ. The running game hasn't been as good as I hoped it would be. They've had big plays in the passing game, but man, they've just been getting gashed. Ted wants to pull his tie card again like week one. Go for it, man. Do it. You know what? You are the tie guy. Go ahead and pull it out. I don't know. I don't really think that, Broncos, but just because their offense is slightly better. Gabe says I like a 9-9 tie. One team gets 3 field goals. One team gets a touchdown, mixed extra point, and a field goal. That would so happen, wouldn't it? I mean, this wacky stuff might be happening in this game. I'll say that. We got a big 3rd and 2 coming up. We'll turn our attention to the Jaguars across the pond, and then we'll come back to Broncos-Bears. Yeah. Oh, okay. So they start under center. See, learn your lesson, though, Jaguars. What did you see the Falcons do? They're coming out empty 3rd and 2. And they might have not gotten it. Just run the ball. What are we doing? Why? What has happened to the game that I love? I just don't understand. I don't. And it looks like maybe this was a designed run. But why are you coming out in empty on 3rd and 2? Did you not just see the Falcons come out in empty on 3rd and 1 and not get it? What are we doing? Just run the ball. Who cares if the defense is ready for it? It's 2 yards. 2 yards is considered like a bad run, but it's all you needed. Yeah, it's just so frustrating when teams do that. And my team is one of the biggest offenders of that, so maybe that's why I get so upset, because I'm a personal victim of it. Here come the Falcons again. They're hanging around, right? Their defense has kind of kept them in this game. Credit to them. Atlanta's hanging around, save for that coverage bust on a big play. Like, the Jaguars have moved the ball a little bit, but this Falcons defense is hanging around. That just upsets me so much. I don't know why I get so worked up over it, but just run the dang ball, man. Here we go. Fresh set of downs. Algier. Decent run there. First down. Not decent run on first down, I should say. Fans of both teams really being tested. I recall the year the Lions lost them all, so feel for them, and Vikings fans too. You know, we gotta stick together, right? Us heartbroken fans. I feel like in this chat, there's not a lot of fans that have tasted Super Bowl glory. There's a few in here, but you know, it's tough out here. But you know, we band together. I gotta empathize with Lions. If you're a Lions fan during 2008 when you lost them all, like, that's gotta be tough. I at some point you probably just find it funny and you laugh, but man, it's just not a good feeling. Oh man, Algier stuffed there. There's that Jags run defense coming to play. One of the top units in the league again. They're averaging only 84 yards allowed on the ground. Yeah, I did my research a little bit waking up this morning. I was like, let's check in on this Jaguars run defense, see if they're still holding up. Oh, they are. They are. Caden says, I need Fields to pop off for once. This is the game. I could see it. I could see Fields just taking off and running a lot. I said that last week and it didn't really happen. I don't know. I could see it happening, though. Uh-oh. Pitts almost fell down going in motion. Big 3rd and 8. Are they going to bring pressure? They're showing a lot of guys. I feel like some of them will drop back. Yeah. Both linebackers do. Oh, good catch by Bijan. One-handed snag. He got the first down. Bijan, one-handed catch, makes a man miss in a first down. Talk about going and getting a bucket. That's what I'm talking about. Not a pretty throw by Ritter. Doesn't matter. Oh, he palmed that thing. It wasn't even like one of those like one-hander where he like puts it up against his chest. Nah, man. He's like a baseball player, like a first baseman, stretching out and picking that ball. And then immediately after, gets by the former Falcon Oluokun, gives him a little stiff arm. That's just a great football play. How could you not be romantic about Bijan Robinson? In a lot of ways, this is like the Dr. Pigskin Bowl now that I'm thinking about it. Right? I have got videos about both these teams. I've got a Bijan Robinson video and a Jaguars video. This is the Dr. Pigskin Bowl. I love it. Kaden says, also dropping Pitts for Laporta made me so sad, but needed to be done. I do not blame you one bit. Kyle Pitts just does not seem to really fit in this offense. And it's not even that. It's kind of that. Like, just, he is not a tight end for this offense. And again, when you look at where he lines up, he plays the majority of his snaps where he is right now, down at the bottom of your screen, out wide as a wide receiver. Sometimes you even see him in the slot, right? I agree with him being used like that. He just doesn't get the ball. And when he does, like, it, again, it's not usually very catchable. I just can't help but feel like if you put Kyle Pitts on the Chargers, he would be awesome. I mean, he was good his rookie season with the Falcons. He had 1,000 yards as a tight end. That almost never happens. I honestly, like, Kyle Pitts is another one of those players who, like, he just so obviously is very talented. I think he is a good player. The numbers have just not been there for him. Some of it has to do with the offense he plays in. Some of it has to do with the quarterback. Some of it has to do with injuries and just bad luck. But I still believe in Kyle Pitts. Like, he is a good player. Good catch right there. Nice chunk play. Hodge. I'm going to feel bad. I don't know who Hodge is. Is that... hold on. I have an idea. Hodge Falcons. I don't want to be wrong, though. It is Kadero Hodge. Okay. That's like the only Hodge I could think of. All right. Good catch. Ritter in rhythm a little bit. Yeah, we'll pick a winner for here. I don't know if it's a spicy take or not because I feel like this game is kind of a toss up. But oh, Bijan again. I don't know if there's miscommunication on the handoff or if that was designed for a little misdirection. But like it looked like things weren't quite on the same page for a while. But he got it off in time. Man, I recognize that like maybe I gush over certain players too much. But like every time Bijan touches the ball, I just can't help but smile. 2nd and 2. Falcons on schedule here. They're putting together kind of a drive. Look at the mix of jerseys here. That's always cool about the international games. Is like you see fans of all sorts of different teams. I've seen a few Vikings jerseys. Bijan again. 1st down. Stay on schedule. Bijan wants better game this week. Yeah, no, I mean, hey, your Lions really, really bottled him up last week. That was impressive. That was one of the most impressive performances last week, was that Lions run defense. Yeah, he's looking better. And again, like a lot of it wasn't even on him. It was just the Lions won in the trenches, which is hard to do against this Falcons offensive line. It's not often like the Falcons offensive line loses the battle. And to say that they lost puts it maybe a little harshly, but the Lions outplayed him in the trenches last week. And that's a hard thing to do. Oh, no, it's intercepted. Darius Williams. Is that going to be a house call? He's open. He's free. He takes it all the way. Touchdown, Jaguars. It's Darius Williams for 6. Stunning scenes here in London. Oh, no. That's exactly what I talked about. This Jaguars defense is good enough to make the Falcons' bad throws, like, matter. They made him pay there. Oh, no. Oh, Desmond Ridder. And now it's a whole nother ball game. Now it's about to be 17-0. Okay. This is a legitimate, serious question here, right? Genuinely, like a genuine question. At what point do you consider turning to the backup? Right? They have a pretty good one. As far as backups go, on their bench, they have a guy who has seen a lot of action, Taylor Heineke. At what point do you seriously consider putting in Heineke? I get that Ritter was your guy and you drafted him and this year was supposed to be let's see what he has, but just genuinely, like, I just don't know, like, what has Desmond Ridder honestly shown us so far? Like, I feel like I get he was a rookie last year and he didn't play much, but now this is year 2, and this is a team with a timeline that's actually moving along fairly fast. They spent a lot on defense this offseason. The offense, for the most part, looks pretty good. They went and drafted a running back, which is usually a move of like, hey, we want to be competitive, like, pretty soon here. I mean, I think clearly the Falcons are going to be in the market for a quarterback this next offseason now. Like, just genuinely, at what point do you seriously consider going to Heineke? Because and I say this as someone that actually kind of liked what I saw a little bit from Ridder in college, and I thought that, hey, maybe he could be the best quarterback from this draft class, which wasn't saying much, but like maybe he could be a Ryan Tannehill type of guy. And this was the spot where he could do it, right? This is the offense in which Tannehill flourished under Arthur Smith, good running game, good weapons around him. It just hasn't happened. It just has not happened. Also, if I'm a Falcons fan, I'm a little frustrated right now. I want to give my condolences to Oscar especially, right? I don't know if he's in here or not, or if he's going to be watching this later. Oscar and I are huge Lamar Jackson supporters, right? And I get that it would have taken a lot to get him, and maybe like it wouldn't have worked out. But the fact that Lamar Jackson, a unanimous MVP, one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, was more or less available for the taking. It would have taken a lot, but the fact that a quarterback of his caliber, who I think would have fit like a glove in this offense, was available, and the Falcons not only didn't go after him, but they publicly stated that we will not be pursuing him. Like, they made a show about not going after him because of like the stupid precedent of like, we don't want to give him guaranteed money. Just could you imagine this Falcons team with Lamar Jackson right now? And maybe that wouldn't have meant no Bijan, but Truly, who do you think Atlanta would rather have right now, Bijan Robinson or Lamar Jackson? Just the fact that there was even a chance, like a 5% chance that they could have gotten him. And forget not even going for him, but to publicly make a show about not going after him. It's got to be so frustrating if you're a Falcons fan. And, this year was supposed to be, let's see what Ridder has. It's got to be frustrating. Let's watch this playback here and see exactly what happens, because he just threw it right to him. So he had the underneath guy kind of open. I mean, he threw it where two defenders were. You just can't do that. Too easy for the defense. I don't know. Caden says, if the Falcons had a top 15, they'd be QB, I'm assuming. They'd be a playoff team. Still might be, but it would be a guarantee. Yeah, it's intercepted again. I'm checking chat and it's intercepted. And Cisco loses the ball, but they get it back. It's intercepted again. Oh my gosh. I have no words. I literally looked down at my phone to check chat and be like, yeah, if they had an average quarterback, this is probably a playoff team. Look at that. Hey, shout out me, right? Look at Cisco, the single deep safety, right? The Jaguars do that a lot. Too high craze. Cisco just breaks on it. He's there the whole time. Good play by Cisco. He's just right there. Ironic, right? He tries to finally get it to Pitts, and it's intercepted. Back-to-back picks. Oh, my goodness. They're in the red zone off of that turnover. The Jaguars have a good shot to go up 24-0. ETN, not much. But yeah, no, if the Falcons had an average quarterback, they would probably comfortably win this division. And again, to their credit, they still might, right? They're 2-1. Even if they lose, they're 2-2. They'll hang around and be in the battle. But man, this really is like Zach Wilson level stuff where it's a team that's pretty good and the quarterback. This is finally like those bad turnover-worthy plays. The chickens are coming home to roost. It is finally catching up. They got away with it for a few weeks. Just bad throws right into the chest of defenders. And now it's finally materializing. And the Jaguars are making plays, capitalizing. Jalen says, yeah, it's not looking good for ATL. Not a quarter way into the season. Little too soon. I mean, I get that. I totally get that. It is early in the season. But just genuinely, what have we seen from Desmond Ridder to inspire any faith or confidence from this season or last season for a team that has playoff aspirations? I get, he was their guy, they brought him in. They wanted him to take the offense. But I just don't know how you can watch this game and think, don't you think maybe Heineke would be doing better out there? I don't know. It's tough. I don't know. It's a tough spot for them to be in. I'm sure I don't blame them for not wanting to give up on him, but I don't know. It's definitely way too early to put them down, but Ritter's bar is so low by the point he progresses to a decent QB, which isn't even a guarantee. It'll probably be mid-season or later. That's the tough thing, though, is Ridder was also one of those prospects that you drafted with maybe he has a little bit higher floor, not as high of an upside. He's a bit of an older prospect. Also, once again, what are we doing? It's 4th and 1. We need 1 yard and we're passing the ball. Big play by the Falcons defense right there. Falcons defense is keeping them in this game. The Falcons D has come to play today. I got to tip my cap to Atlanta's defense. But again, at least we're under center this time. What are we doing here? This is now the 3rd time between these two teams. It's been 3rd or 4th in either 1 or 2, and we're passing the ball. Covered up pretty well. Kirk had a step, but at that point, the pass rush was there. Good play by Atlanta's defense. All right, what are they going to do on this drive? I feel like they got to run the ball here, right? Just once to calm things down. Get a few positive plays. Yeah. And a flag. Now it's a flag. False start. Jackson DeVille hitting the false start on them. Ouch is right. Ouch is right indeed, mile marker 301. Now they're behind the chains. All right, 1st and 15. What do you got? Show me what you got. They got that fullback out there. Tight formation. This screams running play. Yeah. All right. Few yards, I guess. Will that take you into the 2-minute warning? It might. Man, there's just been so much to unpack from this game over the past few drives. Some turnovers. Oh, man. You know, if there's a world where the Falcons come back in this game, the Jaguars not getting points off that last interception will probably be the reason why. To get that close to the end zone and come away with nothing, that's tough. Again, there is still a crack. I would not even call this game over yet. There's still a slight crack open. It's not looking good for the Falcons. I'm not calling this game quite over yet. I'm also trying to remember, who started with the ball? It was the Jags. So, there is a world, right, where if the Falcons play their cards right, again, talking about that game script, they could get the classic twofer. They could potentially turn this into a one-score game pretty quickly. If they score here, get the ball, and score again. So there is, the door is not closed, but you got to see something from the offense here. You got to get at least a field goal. Get some positive plays. Get some first downs. Boost morale a little bit going into halftime. You got to get something. All right. Let's go back to Broncos-Bears a little bit. We've talked about this game. I don't know. Both teams are just really struggling. The Bears might legitimately be the worst team in football. The defense has been bad. The offense has been bad. They got absolutely humiliated against the Chiefs. Granted, it was the Chiefs. Chase Claypool has gotten benched. He's not going to play. He's been someone that's received a lot of criticism with his tenure with the Bears and a little bit with the Steelers too. He's a talented player. You hope he can maybe get a wake-up call, put things together a little bit. Bears have been dealing with some injuries on the offensive line, which stinks. Jalen Johnson is out. Uh-oh. That's not good. Eddie Jackson is out, so maybe their two best players on defense are out, which is not ideal. Braxton Jones, who's been a pleasant surprise, he got injured. Man, Kyler, look at this team, man. They've been devastated by injuries and underperformances, and there's just not a lot of good right now on this roster, to be 100% honest. The Broncos are definitely a better team on paper, right? They've at least shown flashes on offense. The defense has been pretty rough. But Russell Wilson has at least played all right. He's been the better quarterback between him and Fields. And they've at least been able to score some points. You know what's crazy? I'm going to pick the Bears in this game for no particular reason other than I just think I'm going to pick the Bears. Fields might have a great day with his legs. We could see a 100-yard game from Justin Fields on the ground maybe. Again, this Broncos defense has just not been good. I think we're going to see a wacky, chaotic game. I'm going to go with the Bears. I'm going to go Bears 24, Broncos 20. We're going to give the Bears their first win on the season. At home, it's in Chicago. Man, one of these teams, though, they're going to be talked about as the disaster of the league. We'll dive into Ravens-Browns at halftime here. Let's lock in for the remainder of this first half. Second half often brings changes. I'm not fond of the third quarter. There's not a lot of good in Chicago, period, right now. No, there is not. Oh, my goodness. I look down at the chat. Was that almost intercepted again? I see Darius Williams going for the ball and looking down in frustration. Jaguars fans can't believe it. Let's go watch this playback. Yes! It's in his hands! Just look. It's been like this every week. All right, there you go. Underneath the pits. Man, to be a fly on the wall during halftime for this Falcons team. Again, they're moving, right? It's third down. They got to pick this up. It's 3rd and 2. Now maybe you actually do want to pass on this 3rd and short because you just got to get the ball moving. But even then, now they don't get it when they run. Now they do run and they don't get it. Maybe it's not as simple as just getting 2 yards. Okay, fair play. And now the Jaguars can take a timeout and they're going to get the ball back. I say this like as much as I've torn into the Falcons, like I genuinely do feel bad for Desmond Ridder. Like he seems like a good guy, right? It's never like fun watching players suffer out there. Arthur Smith looks like he's being tortured right now. I mean, it's just been one of those frustrating games. I will like Desmond Ridder, like I don't know. Again, I don't know him personally, but just like based off what we saw in college, kind of his career arc, like he seems like a pretty mentally tough guy, right? You know, this second half could be like career defining for Desmond Ridder though. And again, like I don't want to like put too much on it, too much hyperbole, right? I get that it's early in his career, it's early in the season, but just genuinely like I don't know how you can just watch this game and think that he can be a starting quarterback in the NFL unless he drastically improves. He limits the upside of this passing attack, and now the turnover-worthy plays have started to turn into turnovers. Can this Jaguars team steal a few more points before halftime? I feel like if you're Jacksonville, you kind of want to like get some points here because for the most part, your offense has been all right. You have 10 points on offense, 7 of them coming off a coverage bust. You kind of want to get at least 3 going into halftime and be like, all right, our offense got us a little bit more breathing room. Because again, this game, the door is not slammed shut yet. The Falcons not getting points there, though. Oh, that's got to hurt. They will likely go in down 17, maybe more. I don't know. They only have 1 timeout. That clock is ticking. Here comes the rush. All right. Hey, quick 3rd down. Falcons can, like, get another stop here. Pressure got home a little bit there. 3rd and 4. What have you got cooked up for us, Jacksonville? What does this Falcons defense have? There's Ryan Nielsen. Look at the mustache. This Falcons coaching staff loves their mustaches. Ryan Nielsen coming over from the Saints. He loves his former Saints players. Caden Ellis. Been a great player for him so far. I also have David Onyemata. Oh, wide open. Christian Kirk. 1st down. Out of bounds. Clock stops. That's big time. That's big time. It's almost like they handed the keys of a Ferrari to a toddler. I did say that last week, didn't I? Unfortunately, I might not be wrong. I don't know. I guess if Ritter's a toddler, then Heineke is like a 5th grader. It's not like Heineke is like some like superstar on the bench, you know. All right. Another quick throw. Kirk dropped it. Honestly, maybe it's a good thing. He probably would have been tackled inbounds. They would have had to use that final timeout. You probably want to save that timeout for when you try and line up the field goal. That's the positive spin on a drop, right? It's like, oh, yeah, of course you drop it. Jaguars have like had a lot of drops. They led the league in drops last year. They've had a few more this year. It's been a weird, weird thing. Gabe asks, how does this game affect LeBron's legacy? Well, you see, Jordan would have never let this happen, right? Jordan would have motivated Desmond Ridder to not throw those interceptions. So I think this is just further evidence that Jordan is the GOAT. Look out. Pressure coming. Bang. It gets home. Falcons defense again. Man, they have been on fire. Is that Bud Dupree getting a sack in the year 2023? Look at that. 4th sack on the season for the Falcons. That'll close out the half. Halftime, 17-0 Jaguars. And you can look at it 2 ways. In one way, it could be a whole lot worse. the Falcons, I mean, well, I guess that's not two ways, but like the Falcons, like, they're not out of it. They are hanging around. They will get the second half kickoff. This is going to be a fascinating drive to watch. Halftime. All right. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to make Dr. Pigskin history here. Unfortunately, I am not Scott Hansen. My bladder is not built like that. For the first time ever during a live stream, well, actually, this is not the first time ever. During my draft live stream, I thought I heard a knock on my door, so I had to go get up. But let's just say I need to use the bathroom, and so I'm going to go do that and be right back. I apologize for having to step away. I promise I'll be quick. I'm going to go do my business, wash my hands, and then I'll be back. All right, we're back. I well, anyways, it was not quite exactly that, Gabe. I just had a lot to drink this morning, that's all. But I'm back. Anyways, if that was TMI, I apologize, but it is my show. So, anyways, we're back. It's halftime, right? I feel like we've said what we can about this game, but let's dive into some other games. I don't know. We're poking fun. Always good to have, keep me honest, right? But, oops, wrong screen there. That is pretty legendary, though. Scott Hansen, for as long as he's done Red Zone and for how long it is, not once has he ever gone up and left. So that's dedication, right? He's a legend. We love Scott. All right, Ravens-Browns, another big game. Let's dive into this one. Well, we've got some downtime here at halftime, right? This is the Pigskin Pregame after all, getting ready for a Sunday slate. Two teams atop the AFC North right now. Well, I guess Pittsburgh is there too, somehow. No disrespect to Pittsburgh. It's kind of crazy how they are there. But Gabe says, I went on a run. Have you broken down Bucks versus Saints yet? No, I have not. And we will get to that one soon enough too, as we are going to tackle some of these 1 o'clock games. If you have to go for work soon, we can fast track that one. But I'm very excited to talk about Ravens versus Browns. So, the Ravens coming off a loss last week that I'll admit I actually didn't watch much of. Apparently there was a bad PI call. We talked about the Matt Gay masterclass, right? The Colts without Anthony Richardson getting the win. A little bit of a Baltimore Bowl here, right? And the offense just has been a little wonky for the Ravens so far under Todd Monken. I talked about this. Well, I guess I haven't really talked about this on stream. We talked about the Georgia game and how they missed Todd Monken a little bit. This offense has just been a little up and down so far. I think we've seen it at its full potential. It looked awesome in the game against the Bengals. But again, Lamar Jackson, they did a lot of underneath stuff to Zay Flowers, which I feel like he's good at, but with how dynamic he is, you kind of want to let him run some deeper routes too. If you go on next gen stats and you look at his route tree, a lot of it is just really, really short passes. And maybe the Ravens thought Like, we just want to get the ball out quick, take the air out. We're going up against Gardner Minshew. Like, we don't need to turn this into a shootout. We're going to trust our defense and get out of here with a win. And this is a Ravens team that is very banged up once again. But, oh, man, I don't know. You don't want to get too discouraged because it's just one loss. And this team has played fairly well overall. The defense still looks really good. But there's been a learning curve with this Todd Monken offense, and it hasn't been lighting the world on fire. I don't think Lamar Jackson is going to pass for 6,000 yards like he said he would. But, yeah, hey, it's not often a kicker manages to upstage Justin Tucker, but we saw one. Tucker had a chance with the 61-yarder, and he just couldn't quite hit it. The Taco Mac I was at last week was going crazy when that happens, but... No, I was locked in on the Vikings game, so I didn't watch too much of the 1 o'clock games, but I tried my best to follow along and keep up with the action afterwards. I will say, I did not watch like any of the 4 o'clock games because it was about an hour drive back to my place from Taco Mac, and also, full disclosure, like, I try and remain objective and honest and, like, not let the Vikings, like, run this channel. Like, I wear my fandom on my sleeve, of course. I'm going to be honest. I did not want to watch football after that Vikings loss. Part of it was just me driving back, but I did not watch the 4 o'clock games. I did watch the Sunday night game, though, but I was deep in the trenches after that Vikings loss, and it's like, man, we really aren't making the playoffs this year, are we? But Gabe says, of course Justin didn't make that kick. But no, 67 NFL record, onions. Ah, yes, the Detroit Lions. Man, tough sitch for the Lions there. I was telling Christine that. I was like, this is the guy that, like, set the record for longest kick. Like, 61 yards is a long kick, but, like, he can make them. But, so the Ravens with a tough, close loss to the Colts, a game they probably should have won. And now they got to go play the Browns, who might have, at least through the first 3 weeks, the best defense in the land. As we've got another regular back in here, Anything for Clicks is back in the game. He says that Ritter is trash. Why is he even playing? Well, we'll see. We'll see how he comes out here second half. I will say it has been a bad performance from him first half. I have maybe hinted at you got a guy in Heineke on the bench that, like, I think could probably be playing better than this right now. So I don't know at what point we'd need to see this game get to see Heineke come in, but I would at least be thinking about it if I was Arthur Smith. And he says, when Cousins getting traded? I talked about this a little bit earlier. I think the Vikings would really have to, like, get off to a bad start for that to even be a possibility. And he has a no-trade clause, so Kirk himself would need to give the deal the green light. The Jets are probably the most obvious candidate to trade for him. Could you imagine if the Falcons traded for Kirk Cousins? I don't know if that really makes sense for the Falcons, though. I don't know if that's something that they'd want to do. He doesn't really seem to fit their timeline. But I'm always in the stance of if the price is right, I would absolutely trade Cousins because I feel like this is probably his last year regardless. Might as well get something. But again, he has to okay the deal and the price has to be right. Like, let's not just let him go for nothing. But Gabe says, we were sitting on a couch together. We felt that moment. We sat in pure unfiltered agony. Why do you trade for Justin Fields? Not why, when. That was another interesting, like, talking point for the Falcons, right? Shout out Henry, right? Saying, man, we should have drafted Justin Fields instead of Kyle Pitts. I would be curious to see how Fields does in this offense just as a football experiment because I think we can all kind of agree that what Fields has shown right now has not been up to par of what he should be, right? But you also do have to acknowledge, like, just the situation he's been in, Chicago has not been that great. And Atlanta is probably just an objectively better spot for him. He also has ties to Georgia, right? It's a good offensive line, good weapons around him. Arthur Smith, I feel like you would have fun with him. What would a trade package for Justin Fields look like, though? Because I feel like even though he's been underperforming, like, a young quarterback can fetch a decent amount. And if you're the Falcons, are you comfortable with maybe giving up a decent draft pick for a guy that, like, you're just, it's going to be another, like, trial period? Like, how many more trial periods do you want to go through if you're the Falcons? Right? Do you really want to punt away another year of figuring out, instead of, is Desmond Ridder the guy now? It's like, is Justin Fields the guy or not? So, that is kind of the downside of it. Obviously, there's a ceiling to it, but again, you got to factor in the timeline of like, okay, his rookie contract will be up soonish. I guess he still has a little bit of time, but I don't know what a package for Fields would look like. I think you'd want to buy low on him, and I just don't know if you can buy low enough because the Bears are going to ask for a lot still, which I get. He is a young quarterback, but anyways, I just think that Fields can do better and is a better QB, and that the Bears gave him credit. I think he could get a better spot. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Now, some of it is just Justin Fields not being a great quarterback and anything for clicks, saying Justin Fields can't see the field, Ritter can't see the field. I mean, yeah, that has been their weaknesses, is they legitimately just struggle to go through their reads and like read the defense, right? Like pretty basic quarterbacking stuff. Like that has just been a genuine problem with those two quarterbacks, and it's been a problem with Fields. Like even when there have been guys that are open, he like, what's just really curious is that sometimes he sees them, but he just doesn't pull the trigger. I just don't understand. So I don't know if it's a mental thing with him or what, but Fields has not been good either. And it's just like, that has kind of been the story of the Bears. I think all the things can be true. The Bears players can be bad. The play calling can be bad. And Fields can be bad. And that's why they're 0-3 and have looked bad right now. Do you think Williams could pull the Eli? Man, I hope not. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Like, I support player empowerment, but also like, if you mean pulling an Eli of like, if you draft me, I won't play for you. Like, come on. I don't know. Like, that's just kind of how it works, I guess. I think the more likely thing is he'd just come back to USC if he really didn't want to play for whoever got the first pick. But then also, like, you're just kind of delaying the inevitable because, like, if you're the first overall pick, you're going to a bad team. Like, that's just kind of how it works, unless, like, some team offers a king's ransom and trades up, which doesn't seem likely. So, I don't think so. I mean, there have been, like, murmurs about it, but people are saying the same thing about Trevor Lawrence. They're like, oh, if the Jets get the first overall pick, Trevor Lawrence should go back to school. And, like, oh, like, if Trevor Lawrence goes to the Jaguars, like, he's doomed. Obviously, a lot of it is on the organization to put a good team around you, but ultimately, at the end of the day, if you're a first overall pick quarterback, that's kind of the expectation, is that you elevate the team around you too. I mean, look at Trevor Lawrence. He went to the Jaguars and they were terrible. They were awful. They had the first pick. They earned it fair and square for being bad. And now they're looking like they won a playoff game last year. The Colts, they lose Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck comes in, and obviously a lot of the Colts still failed to put a good team around Andrew Luck, but ultimately, like, it didn't matter that much. Like, they didn't get a Super Bowl, but they were winning playoff games with him. Like, so if you're Caleb Williams and the expectation is he is going to be that guy, like, at some point, like, the good player just has to be good too. So looks like they're about to start this game up. We've barely talked about this. Honestly, I don't really care. The conversations have been good. Anything for Click says, if you're a smart franchise, take for Williams. That is the guy. Waiting year is a waste of time. That USC QB is elite. And I will say he has looked very good. He shows a lot of exciting stuff, right? He is sort of like this new mold of quarterback, a dynamic playmaker. I almost think that his running ability is underrated. I've seen a lot of people say that, like, he doesn't look that athletic. I don't know what they're watching, because, like, every time I've watched him, like, he looks fast out there. I don't like, he could genuinely be a guy that rushed for like 600, 700 yards. But I also don't think he's a perfect prospect. Like, he's definitely the best quarterback prospect we've seen since Trevor Lawrence. He's probably at about Lawrence's level, maybe a smidge below. I don't think he's like guaranteed, like, he's not like Peyton Manning or anything, but he's the best QB prospect we've seen in a while. Good start there for the Falcons. Get Algier involved. We'll pick this game really quickly here, and then we'll still be going in and out. I know we got to get to this Bucs-Saints game at some point too, but my head is telling me the Browns with how good their defense has been playing. I mean, seriously. I think it's kind of funny how last week I spent about 5 minutes talking about the Browns-Titans game, and for about all of it, I kept saying that the Browns defensive line versus the Titans offensive line was a huge mismatch, and that the Browns defensive line was probably going to take that game over. And then I proceeded to pick the Titans anyways, and then sure enough, the Browns defensive line took over, and the Titans scored 3 points. I mean, this is a team that is like, there are just some ridiculous stats. As there goes Bijan. Bijan breaking open. Big run, Falcons in business. Here we go. This game is not over. This game is not over. Anything for clicks says he's better than Lawrence. I'm not sure. I think there are certain things he's better at than Lawrence. I just think that it can be easy to see some of the stuff that Caleb Williams does and gets excited. I don't know if you saw on Twitter yesterday that crossbody throw he made. He's going to his left and he makes the throw for a big play. And that's exciting, right? That he has the creativity to pull that off and he can make that throw. But it was also a wide open, it was a fairly routine throw. I think there's a weird sect. There's very little nuance with Caleb Williams. There's a group of people that I think, I've seen some aggregator accounts, and I don't follow any of them, but they show up in my timeline anyways. But NFL Rookie Watch be he's a combination of Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. And it's okay, slow down right there. Hold on, right? Let's calm down. But then there is a weird group of people too that almost think he's overrated now. And they're well, actually, Drake May is QB1. And it's well, no, it's not that either. He is, in my opinion, he's very clearly QB1. He's a very good prospect. I think it's close between him and Lawrence, though. I might give the slight edge to Lawrence, to be 100% honest. I just think Lawrence was a little bit more polished, a little bit more safe. A lot of the stuff that you saw with Lawrence in college, you knew that would translate immediately on Sundays. Some of the stuff with Caleb Williams, some of the throws he's making, I don't know. You can't knock him too much because it's not his fault his receivers are getting open. He might have to rein it in just a tiny bit, though. But I still think that you see stuff that is going to translate too. He does a good job of making plays in structure. Good throw by Ritter there. But yeah. Aiden O'Connell QB1. I'm excited for that. The Aiden O'Connell experience. I'm going to go with the Ravens, though, on the road. Again, I still trust their quarterback a little bit more. This Browns team is going to get a tough test now, right, against a very good Ravens defense without Nick Chubb. I think this could be a bit of an uglier, low-scoring, classic AFC North game. I'm going to go with the Ravens in a close one. I'm going to go Ravens 20, Browns 17. I'm going to go with a bit of a slugfest, but I think the Ravens eke this one out. This is a team I still trust a little bit more. I don't think we'll see the offensive explosion. Both defenses should have good games. But I'm going to lean Ravens. The line is even, but this could be a big game. I would not be shocked if the Browns won, but I just still don't fully trust their offense. That defense is epic, though. That defense is awesome. All right, let's lock in here with the Falcons a little bit. 2nd and 9. They're in the red zone. Ritter. Oh. See? He just missed a layup there. It's just, oh, man. I don't, at some point, I don't want to, pile on, but, this is just what we're seeing. I don't know. My Prince Jimmy is hurt. Yeah, that seems to be an unfortunate trend with him, is getting hurt. We'll dive into Bengals-Titans, a little playoff rematch from a few years ago after this drive. Titans and Bengals. Interesting game, honestly. Ravens' lack of defense is going to hurt them with what that Browns D can do. Ritter going to the end zone. Oh, it's caught. Drake London. Oh, it's Drake London in London. Can you... Oh, was it out of bounds? No. Wait. They say 3rd down and 9 on the score bug. He's getting props. 1, 2. Oh, he's going down the ball. Is that a catch? Am I crazy? That's a touchdown. Is that not? We need the Drake London and London touchdown, please. Yes, okay. I can't hear the broadcast very well, so that's why I was a little confused. We got the Drake London and London score. Shout out to the people that bet on Drake London to score a touchdown today. London and London. Let's go. All right. Here we go. See, that's what the game is not over. You know what? Big ups to Desmond Ridder coming out. It doesn't matter how they did it. They got a touchdown drive coming out of the locker room. It ain't over till it's over. Let's go. We got a game in our hands here. 17-7. Let's see how Jacksonville responds. And while we wait, let's go take a look at Titans-Bengals. All right. So the Bengals getting their first win on the season last week on Monday Night Football. It was not pretty, but you know what? They got the job done, dang it. They got the job done in a little Super Bowl rematch. That defense came to play, right? Going into the season, that was a big narrative with this Bengals team. Is like the offense is exciting, but what really makes this team special is like their defense is like very good. They've got a lot of underrated players. Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt, Trey Hendrickson has been a beast. Sam Hubbard. They bring in Miles Murphy, the rookie out of Clemson, right? Chidobe Awuzie is back. He's been up and down, but their defense really won them this game. Again, it was another ugly game on offense for the Bengals. Burrow still just clearly is not at 100%. He doesn't seem quite in sync with the rest of the offense. It was good to see Jamar Chase have a big game. But this just, again, like, until Burrow is back to 100%, this team is not really who they should be. And the offensive line still is kind of a concern. I feel like Burrow got hit a decent amount. Only 2 sacks taken, but the Bengals defense, though, 6 sacks. How about that? They were in Stafford's face a lot. Man, I was really gassing up this Rams team, and they came out a little flat. That was a little disappointing. 7 sacks, actually, according to this. Hold on. No, 6. 7 tackles for loss. But Dax Hill has been awesome, the rookie. Right, Hubbard got home. Hendrickson with 2 sacks. DJ Reader. I mean, this is a very good defense. They're going up against the Titans, who, again, we just talked about, they got dominated by the Browns. Absolutely dominated. They did not have a chance. They legitimately could not get anything going on offense. And now that's 2 out of the 3 weeks that this team has gotten nothing on offense. The offensive line might be the worst in the league, genuinely. And, again, Tannehill getting killed out there. Henry can't find any open holes, right? He can't just, like, bulldoze through anymore like he used to. 20 yards on 11 carries. You know, I don't think that we might see, like, I mean, Myles Garrett got 3.5 sacks, which is just ridiculous. I don't know that we'll see, like, Trey Hendrickson get 3.5 sacks. Maybe. I like the Bengals to get back to 500 in this one, though, to be honest. I do think it'll be a bit of a closer game because this Titans pass rush is pretty good in their own right. It is in Nashville, right? It's a home game for the Titans. I do like this pass rush versus the Bengals line, but I also like this Bengals defense versus the Titans offense. And I think that the Bengals D versus the Titans offense is the biggest mismatch in this game. I could see another 5 or 6 sacks from this Bengals defense today, maybe a few takeaways. Go Blue, Dax Hill, baby. Hey, he's been awesome. He's been great. He's been an excellent replacement for Jesse Bates. Maybe he gets a takeaway. I think the Bengals eke this one out. They're just trying to tread water till Burrow gets healthy. 0-3 would have been a bad start for them. They avoid it. I think this is a game you don't like say like, oh, the Bengals offense is back. Like we're looking good again, but the defense will take them home. And Joe Mixon has actually been running fairly well too, amidst everything that's gone on with him recently. So I like the Bengals in this one. I'll go Cincy 24, Tennessee 14. Bengals take care of business on the road. They get back to 500. 2nd and 2. Lawrence just fires that one into ETN there. First down, you'll take that. If you're the Jaguars, you got to put together a drive here. The Falcons just came out firing out of the halftime locker room. Right? They get 7 on the board, and all of a sudden it's like, man, if you want to look at just the offenses, it's Jaguars 10, Falcons 7. Like, really, those turnovers have been the difference in this game. Fresh set of downs now here for Jacksonville. Can they maybe put together a drive here? It's still just been a little wonky for them. We'll dive into Rams Colts here when we get the chance. Oh, the Rams. I still believe. We'll see. Now we got, is that a timeout being called? Yeah, timeout Jacksonville. Again, the early timeouts. Mile marker says third quarters, you know? You're right. Those third quarters are something else. It's a whole new ball game, right? That's what they tell back when you're like a kid playing football, right? You might be down hard. 0-0, new game, right? I know back when I played good old FM athletics growing up, that's what the coaches would always say. Whether you're up big or down big, 0-0, new game. Well, Falcons, they've responded. Anything for Click says Titans offensive line got exposed last week. Yeah. I mean, it's been a problem, but it was on full display last week. And where's Henry? He old now? He is pretty old. I mean, it's just a lot of wear and tear on him. You know, a lot of, not like injuries, but just stuff that piles up, you know, and he's never been the fastest back to begin with. And at some point, like, I don't know, things eventually catch up to him. He's not the back he once was, I will say. We're really starting to see the decline this year. Even last year, like, you could see a little bit, but he's still at like 1,500 rushing yards. And it's like, okay, like, he's still one of the best backs in the league, but slowing down a little bit. And we've got a Trevor Lawrence take. Trevor Lawrence, overrated. Reminds me of a better Carson Wentz. Now, to be fair, I feel like a better Carson Wentz is a pretty good thing to be. Like, you know, Carson Wentz had a rough end to his career, obviously. And I don't know. Things just went south so quickly for him. Again, I don't know the guy personally, right? I don't have like this insight into their psyche, but I can totally understand how after 2017 you get hurt. You watch your team win the Super Bowl without you. You watch your backup become a folk hero, right? And he still played well like a few more seasons down the line, but then he gets hurt again the next year and Foles gives him another playoff run. And at that point, like, I don't know. I think Foles was the more beloved quarterback in Philly than he was. And Philly is a tough place to play, right? This is a guy that grew up in North Dakota, right? Went to North Dakota State where, like, it's just a very different environment than being a professional athlete in Philadelphia. Carson Wentz at his best was a very good quarterback. Now, sometime it eventually caught up to him. Like, he tried some wacky stuff. But if you're a better Carson Wentz, I feel like that's a pretty good thing, is it not? Now, obviously, if you're a better Carson Wentz now, that's maybe not the highest praise. But I like Trevor Lawrence. I like the way he plays. I think he's a lot more polished than Carson Wentz, though. I think he gets the ball out a lot faster. He's better at reading defenses, just doing more of like the quarterbacky stuff. And he's a similar level athlete. Trevor Lawrence is just, I mean, it's not a hot take to say like I've always liked Trevor Lawrence because, again, he was seen as this generational prospect. He has not been perfect this year. I don't think he's played up to his full potential, but I still think he's one of the best quarterbacks in this league. No way. I professored at NDSU? No way. Did you really? That is awesome. Hey, it's a small world. Go Bison, right? No way. That's crazy. I'm from Fargo, so I've been around NDSU my fair share. Been to my fair share of NDSU games. Wow. Yay, Bison. Hey, Bison, not Bison. I'm sure you learned all about that when you were a professor there. Anthropology. That's awesome. All right, big 3rd and 11. Oh, it's a screen and he's falling down. And right you are, Gabe. The Falcons getting the ball back. This defense has come to play. Also like the poor man's Matt Ryan reference there. Never forget. NDSU. That is so cool, though. I have like friends that go to NDSU and stuff. That is crazy. It's a small world. Gabe says, I got to clutch up and post these Bucks inactive. Be right back. Well, once you come back, maybe we can dive into some good old-fashioned Bucks Saints football. Good punt there. Hey, here we go, right? Man, oh man, oh man. Desmond Ridder is going to get a chance to kick and scream his way back into this ball game. That is awesome. No way. Caden is taking that class this semester. It is just such a small world. I love this. Man, we've had a guy that is taught at NDSU. That's awesome. All right, commercial break. Rams Colts. Let's dive into this one. So, Rams coming off a brutal loss last week. Another game where you feel like they were just right there, but they couldn't quite finish it off. Some silly turnovers, just not finishing in the red zone. That's what really plagued them. I watched that Rams-Bengals game pretty closely, and it just felt like the Rams could have definitely won that game, but they didn't. and they didn't quite make the plays when they did not. They just couldn't come through. But I don't know. I stubbornly believe in Sean McVay and this coaching staff, and Matthew Stafford still looks pretty good. He was not at his best last week. Cooper Kupp will be back soon. My fantasy team rejoices. I rejoice because I like watching good football. And they're going against a very surprising 2-1 Colts squad. I had the Colts as one of the worst teams in the league, and here they are with a winning record. Good on the Colts. It's in Indy, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken, is Anthony Richardson out again? Man, that's something that you don't like to see, because Anthony Richardson has been so much fun when he's been healthy. He will start today. Oh, okay. Here we go. Anthony Richardson is playing. All right. That adds even more juice to what is kind of a sneaky matchup. Again, we're starting to get to these games now where we're learning about these teams a little bit as we get deeper into the season. The Rams are favored on the road here. Anthony Richardson is playing. So the Rams... One of my biggest takeaways from the Rams game last week is the Rams need a receiving back. And I actually talked about this with Caden over Xbox the other day because he picked up Kyren Williams in fantasy. I like what I see from Kyren Williams as a runner. He's been a pretty good runner. I'm sorry, Kyren. And some of it has been on Stafford too, but he and Stafford have just not been in sync through the air. We've seen dropped passes lead to interceptions. We've seen them just be out of sync when they need to pick up a few yards on third down. The Rams could really use a good receiving back. It just has not been there with Kyren Williams. I do like him as a runner, though. And Nakua kind of came down to earth a little bit. He still had a solid game. I do like me some Tutu Atwell. I like what they're doing. They're doing the similar thing with Atwell as the Dolphins are doing to Tyreek Hill. Get your speedy guy a running start, get him in motion, and then break in. The Rams' defense has been solid, especially considering, outside of Aaron Donald, they don't really have any big names on there, but they've played pretty well as a unit, I would say. You know, Donald has been back to his normal self a little bit more, which is good to see. We could see Donald take this game over. But the Colts, I want to pick the Rams. I really do. But the Colts have been a very surprising team that has really punched above their weight with Anthony Richardson back too, and just how good he's looked with Shane Steichen. I mean, this running game in general has been really good. Zach Moss is out here having good games all of a sudden. Shout out Shane Steichen. Great play caller. What a hire for the Colts. Excuse me. Sorry. I'm going to go with the Rams. If I'm wrong again, then maybe I'll cool off with the Rams. But I'm going to go with the Rams to get a close win on the road. I still don't fully trust this Colts defense. I could see Atwell and Nakua returning to form a little bit. I could see this passing game being decently well. Don't let Stafford's stats fool you. Yeah, two touchdowns to 4 interceptions is not the greatest looking. I think he's played a lot better than what those numbers would indicate. But I'm going to go with the Rams in a close one. Mile marker is with me. Let's go. All right. We're going to go with the Rams in a close one. We'll go Rams. We'll go Rams 28, Colts 20. All right. Back to the game here. Bijan with a nice run. You know, the Falcons, I could see a path to them winning this game. Also, Gabe, get ready because we've got the big one coming up next. Once we get a break, we will talk some Buccaneers and Saints. But first, let's watch Bijan Robinson run the football. 2nd and 1. They don't get it. Jags run defense coming through. So, maybe oh, wait, they're signaling first down. All right, forward progress. Fair enough. All right, they get the first down. Caden says, I love you, Professor. Thank you. Gabe says, I love you, Caden. I love the wholesome chat we got going. Hee. Oh, that's awesome. First down for the Falcons. They're clawing back. There is a world where they win this game, right? You can kind of see the vision. This Jaguars offense has underperformed again. They just look out of sync a little bit. This team is playing worse than the talent that they have on offense. Ritter, down the field, Pitts. Oh, would have been a sick catch by Pitts. I don't know that he would have gotten both feet in bounds. He went up and got that sucker, though. That's what you got to do. Like, that's what I want to see. Like, just give those guys a chance. And it's tough because, like, he does throw the interceptions. The interceptions have just been, like, silly mental lapses, I feel like. But when you have a guy like Kyle Pitts or Drake London, like, yeah, if they have a one-on-one, just let him go make an awesome play. All right, 2nd and 10. Look at all these heavy formations. I love it. The fullback, the extra tight end. Bijan with some space. Oh, look at him go. Yeah, easy run for Bijan. First down. Pitts. Zooey Mama. You know, speaking of Zooey Mama, I watched a really interesting video essay the other day on how Diary of a Wimpy Kid has shaped our generation and its sense of humor and just our overall attitude towards life. It's actually pretty interesting. I'll see if I can find it again. I can't remember what it was called. It was like how Diary of a Wimpy Kid influenced a generation or something like that. I'm shocked Bijan didn't do this against the Lions. Me too, a little bit. I thought that was going to be the Falcons' path to victory if they were going to win. Oh no, Cisco's down. Getting his calf massaged. Man, he has had such a good season this year. I love Andre Cisco. He's such a good player. He's a bit of a throwback. Some people don't like him. They call him a dirty player. He's obviously not trying to injure the guys, I don't think. Like, he's a bit of a hard hitter. Maybe he could reel in the head hit, like the hits to the head a little bit. I don't think he's trying to do that, obviously. Like, maybe he could reel in a little bit, but man, he's just a guy that flies all over the field. Hard hits, great plays in coverage. He really is like the brains of this defense. He was a great steal out of Syracuse. I don't know. He is a good player. Andre Cisco deserves some love. One of the best players on this team, in my opinion. But I will send you that if I can find it. Here, let me just see right now. Well, we do have the Buccaneers and Saints we have to talk about too. Let me go into my watch history real quick, and I will tell you the title. But Buccaneers Saints, it's in the Superdome, and I'm not sure if Derek Carr is playing or not because I feel like the whole time the speculation was that he wasn't, and that it was going to be Jameis Winston revenge game, which might have been a little bit more fun. But I will check in on the Derek Carr status in a little bit. So, Caden, all right, listen up here. The video is called The Impact of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and it's by Solar Sands. It has 5.6 million views. That is the name. It is 22 minutes and 40 seconds long. The Impact of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Anyways, I mean, you can wait till after the stream. No, you're getting it now. Sorry. All right. So the Bucs, some people say maybe they came back down to earth a little bit against Philly last week. Monday Night Football, that was the other Monday night game. Don't love the doubleheader, but I've said my piece on that. Even then, they only lost by 14. You know, the offense, they didn't quite perform very good. Baker maybe came back to earth the most out of anything. I thought the defense turned in a decent performance, though. That running game of Philly is still going, though. They might just run on everyone this year. But they've got Evans, they've got Godwin, who've been a great duo. They've been stubborn with the running game, which I kind of like to an extent. But the Buccaneers coming off a tough loss. We will inch our way into this one as Kyle Pitts gets a first down. There's a Kyle Pitts sighting, and thank you for that mile marker. Appreciate the kind words. It's very nice of you, very kind of you. I'm trying to grow this channel, obviously. There's been a lot of streams. I promise, I recognize, a lot of you guys might have subscribed from my last video. I promise that the next one is coming soon. It's been a very busy past few weeks for me with school and work. We're getting towards midterms, and I don't really have many tests for midterms. I only have one, actually, but a lot of projects. But I did make some pretty good progress on my video this week. I am about 75% done with writing it, and then once I finish that, then all I have to do is edit and record, which is a process that can take anywhere between 1 week to 2 weeks. So I'm hoping, right? I don't want to set a hard deadline, but I can promise you with probably within the next few weeks, this next video will be out, and I am very excited for it. So I promise it'll be worth the wait. But I appreciate you guys being patient. That's just kind of my life situation right now. I love this. I love how my streams can be a consistent way for me to interact with you guys. But don't worry, the next video will be coming soon, and it's going to be a doozy. 2nd and 14. Oh, couldn't quite hook up with his tight end. Or not tight end. That's Mac Hollins. He's built like a tight end, though. He's a big man. But he can go up and get it. He says, you do well. It's fun. I really appreciate that. You know, these kind words mean a lot, especially like when it's complete strangers, people I don't know. Like, I just think it's kind of beautiful that, like, I can interact with this Lions fan who used to be a professor at NDSU that, like, we don't know each other, but football is something that brings us together. As sappy as that might sound, I really do think it's beautiful how, like, we were able to connect over such a silly sport, but something that we all enjoy here. So I thank you guys a lot, genuinely. 3rd and 14, swing pass to Bijan, but we got a flag down first, and it's a false start to make it 3rd and 19. The Falcons are doing themselves no favors. Tough. Arthur Smith is like, man, what can I call on this sheet now? What's the 3rd and 19 play that I have? It's on Jonnu Smith, it looks like. But yes, we will talk about this Bucs Saints game here in a second. Don't you worry, Gabe. We kind of talked about the Bucs a little bit. We will get to the Saints side of things, and then we will pick a winner. It's my circus of the bread and circuses. I'll be honest, if that's a reference to something, I don't understand. I'm not quite cultured enough. Ritter has a little bit of time. Just get out of Bijan in space. Not the worst idea. Not a negative play. All right. Jags defense with a big stop right there. 4th down, right. Going to put this drive to a halt. They're going to have to punt it away. Another good play there by that safety, Herndon. What is his name? I know it's not Chris Herndon. That's the tight end for the, he was for the Jets and Vikings, but how Rome kept the masses quiet. All right, punt here. Jaguars going to get the ball back. Oh, he almost dropped it there. Ruh-roh, that was a little scary. All right, here we go, Gabe. Get ready. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one who understands that. I'm going to look that up. No, we will look that up after we do Saints Buccaneers. I have been putting this off long enough. All right, so the Saints, when they've won ugly so far, and they got their first loss, and it was an ugly loss to the Packers. They were up big, and then they blow the lead. They were up 17-0 in the 4th quarter. They watch it slip away. The defense played their tails off. The defense played pretty well. The Saints' offense has just not quite been up to par. Derek Carr has not been that great. He got injured. He went out. That impacted a little bit. He looked pretty good when he did play, but overall, his body of work with the Saints has not been the greatest so far. I am going to check up on Derek Carr's status, if he is going to play or not. Derek Carr is going to be a game-time decision, so we're either going to see a maybe slightly banged-up Derek Carr or Jameis Winston. Either way, you don't feel great about it if you're the Saints, but also you still might have the advantage at quarterback. Although Baker's been like, all right. Saw the Packers lost. Yeah, hey, it was a good win for the Packers against the Saints last week, I will say. That's a tough loss for the Saints though. This Saints defense though, they continue to just play at a very high level. As long as Dennis Allen has been there, for as much flack as he might have gotten for not being Sean Payton, this defense has played at a very high level. It's in New Orleans. I might lean Saints here, to be honest. In the Superdome, with how good that defense is, I think this might be another one of those uglier, lower-scoring games. One of the exciting things to watch for is Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore, not only because are they both two really good football players that are playing at high levels right now. You're back in time. We're talking about the Buccaneers and Saints and why I might be picking the Saints. But, oopsies. But not only are they playing at a very high level, I gave Marshawn Lattimore some love last week. I think he's probably playing the best football of his career as my AirPods died. And I have to put him back in the case a little bit. But also, there's a bit of history between those two guys. They always seem to be fighting every time they play. So there's a bit of chippiness. Ooh, speaking of chippiness, Lawrence got killed as he nearly threw an interception. But that will be a fun matchup. That might be the best wide receiver corner matchup of the week. The Saints, they have not given up 20 points in a minute, to be honest. Just looking back, right? They have not done it this year. I mean, when is the last time they've given up 20 or more points? Not here. Well, I guess, no, not here, not here, not here, not here, not here. The last time they gave up 20 points, and it was 20 points, was November 20th of last season. They have just been playing at such a high level. I feel like not a lot of people are talking about just how consistently good this Saints defense has been. They're at home. They're a 4-point favorite. I just feel a little bit more comfortable, especially if Carr plays. I still trust Carr a little bit more than Winston. Again, Carr at this point, I don't know what has happened. I used to love Derek Carr. Like that 2016 season was awesome when he almost won MVP, but he got hurt. And he's shown flashes of being a pretty good quarterback, but he too, like he just, sometimes he's not the greatest in the pocket. He gets happy feet. Like he makes weird mistakes. So Mile Marker says he picked the Saints, but injuries, they're a little banged up, aren't they? What else is on their injury report? And also, what is the Buccaneers injury report? They're inactives. Kamara coming back is also a big deal because his running game has not quite been up to par, and if they can get a little bit more on the ground, that helps a lot. The receivers have been great for the Saints. Olave, Michael Thomas, Shaheed. You add Kamara into that offense, that helps a lot. I do think the Saints are just the better team. They're at home. And again, this defense has been playing out of its mind. I could see Baker having another less than stellar game. He's been a fun story so far. I think Baker's proved that maybe he can be at least like kind of a starting quarterback in this league. If you're just looking for like a bridge guy or something, like he at least belongs in the league. But I don't know. I just like the Saints team more. And again, they're at home, and this defense, I think, could really just win them this game. Big time throw by Lawrence to Kirk there to pick up the first down right before the end of the third quarter. Whoo-hoo! They needed that. They needed that. Give them a little bit of breathing room as we head into the fourth quarter. Dean and Cansey are the big names out. Vita Vea and White were limited but are playing. Okay, so some injuries. Okay, here's the injury report. Foster Moreau is questionable. Paulson Adebo is out. That's kind of a big deal. He's been solid. Cesar Ruiz is out. Carr's questionable. So there's injuries on both sides. Jamel Dean is also out. Okay. I'm going to stick with the Saints, though. I'm going to go Saints 23, Bucks 16. That's what I'm going to go with. But thank you for the insider insight there from the Tampa Bay perspective there. As always, Gabriel, our resident Buccaneers reporter. We've got our first Dr. Pigskin beat reporter. Isn't that something? But yeah, I will go Saints by 7, 23-16. I think the math checks out. That is 7. Math. Am I right? Sorry about the Buccaneers. I think they fall to 2-2, and the Saints might get a big win here if this result holds. Is that a Harris commercial I see on my TV? Looks like it. That's Todd Packer from The Office. Anyways, casinos, am I right? All right, so we got the Saints picking up a big win at home. Commanders, Eagles. I feel like this one is pretty straightforward. The Eagles just are a pretty good team. Right, we saw this as the upset last year, right? The Commanders snapped the Eagles' undefeated run. Let's be quite honest, I don't quite see it happening again this year. I still maintain that like this Eagles team is probably not quite as good as last year's. The Cowboys look like maybe a little bit different team without Trayvon Diggs now, and maybe the Eagles still win the division with that like injury in mind, and also just like, I don't know. The Cowboys lost to the Cardinals. I do like the Cardinals, though. My gut is on fire. We're going to talk more about the Cardinals in a little bit. I like the Cardinals. I'm loving they're a fun story so far. The team that stinks but plays with heart. My gut is on fire. Shout out Jonathan Gannon. But his old team is still 3-0 without him. The defense is still playing awesome without him. I mean, yeah. They've been in a few closer games now, right? Their secondary's dealt with injuries, but again, it hasn't really mattered. The running game has been incredible. DeAndre Swift is getting the biggest holes he's ever seen in his life, and he's taking advantage of it. right? Even with like the wonkiness on offense, like they're just, you feel like they miss Shane Steichen a little bit, and maybe at the end, that is what like takes this team down a peg from last year. But also, their floor is just so high with how talented this roster is. Nick Sirianni deserves credit as a great coach. They're playing at home, which this team just seems to get superpowers when they play in Philly. The Commanders kind of came back down to earth a little bit. I mean, they even hung around with the Bills a tiny bit, but then eventually they just got blown out. Like, at halftime, it was a 2-score game, but they also almost got shut out. Big play by Evan Ingram there. Glad for Swift. Yeah, I suppose like you Lions fans probably like DeAndre Swift. Georgia guys definitely like Swift. It's good to see him do well. He's in a great situation now. I mean, he's been lighting the league on fire. I should know. He tore my team up a few weeks ago. But Howell, you want to talk about a quarterback who like had some turnover-worthy plays and it came back to bite him last week. That was Sam Howell just as much as Desmond Ridder. Like Sam Howell, I love the aggressiveness. But sometimes you watch him and it's like, man, like eventually like he's going to turn the ball over. Like he just really forces the ball in there sometimes. And I respect it. It's a fun way to play, right? Like let's see what this kid can do. But 4 interceptions against a very good Bills defense. Didn't get a whole lot going. I mean, the Bills, again, they just proved that they are a better team. The Commanders are feisty a little bit. What really makes me think that there's no shot of an upset is, again, the Commanders' biggest strength, their defensive line. Well, they got to go up against Philly's offensive line. So Philly can maybe cancel out this biggest strength of the Commanders. I think it should be a comfortable win for Philly. I'm going to go Philly 30, Washington 17. That's what I'll go. Give me the Eagles at home. They get a nice, comfortable win, divisional win. 4-0, perfect start again. They're looking good. Steelers-Texans we'll get into, but we've got a game going on here. Big third down now. Big third down and 6 for the Jaguars. Oh, and we got a question for the Lions fans. Their opinions on Jahmyr Gibbs. You know what? I'll let you guys take it away. I will. My 2 cents. This is all I'm going to say. I don't want to like steer you guys' thunder. I still like Gibbs. I don't blame them for eliminating his workload. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I think he's a good football player. It's easy to get upset if you have him to fantasy, but I think he is going to be an asset for this team, and he already has been. All right, big third down. They just got the playoff. Look at that movement. Okay, there you go. Lawrence going to go get him a bucket. Head first dive for the first down. There's that playmaking, right? That is what Lawrence added to his game last year. Just that confidence when if it's not there, you are a 6'6" guy that can move. Go take off and get the first down. Look at this, right? They're going to show the instant replay. Let's see exactly what happened here. But I'm liking what I'm seeing on this play. Kind of a clean pocket, but he's like, you know what? One of my receivers is falling down. We need 6 yards. I'm going to go get 6 yards. Those plays matter so much. That is a winning play right there. Big time run, fresh set of downs. I mean, seriously, like if you can get a quarterback, they don't even need to be the kind of guy like Lamar Jackson, like where they can run for 100 yards. But if you can just get those plays, that is such a difference maker. And a lot of quarterbacks can do that now. Even a guy like Trevor Lawrence, who's seen as like a pocket passer. Like Trevor Lawrence is the new age pocket passer, but he's still making those plays. You weren't seeing Peyton Manning going and doing that, but I don't know. Those plays matter a lot. I sound like a broken record when I talk about it, but that is a prime example right there. That is one of the probably most important plays in this game, in my opinion. I'm not exaggerating. Oh, big hit right there. A.J. Terrell flying in, crunching Christian Kirk. So Mile Marker says, MCDC said early he was going to go slow with Gibbs. Patricia was too hard on rookies. I think Gibbs is going to be good. I think the fantasy bros are being a little bit crazy. Tell me about it. How about JMO coming back? That's nuts. We've only seen JMO play once. Lots of hope, but glad we don't have to rely on him. You know, see that? I think that's an underrated aspect of this Lions offense developing because you add in Gibbs, who can be another one of those weapons. How about Josh Reynolds being like a legit option as a receiver? Even if Jameson Williams is just more of like a one-trick pony deep threat Ted Ginn type of guy, that helps a lot because he doesn't need to be like the alpha of the receiver room or like your best offensive weapon. Lawrence on the run. Oh, he just missed him. too high, and it's 4th down. Oh, he was trying to call game there, and the throw is just a little bit too high. I will say that's a tough throw to make. That's one he probably could make. It's tough. Oh, look at him. He's out on his run. Yeah, he has a step right there, right? He had a step. Good idea. They will get the field goal, but it's still just a 2-touchdown game. 2-touchdown game. To be fair, I would not call that wide open, but yes, like, you know, he could have made that throw. Like a true elite quarterback, yeah, they probably make that throw. Christine is in here. Welcome to the stream, Christine. Top of the morning to you. Yes, you guys are losing. And you know what? Gabe is spitting some facts. The Vikings bandwagon is always open. Poor Christine. She got a real taste of being a Vikings fan last week, watching that game at Taco Mac. She saw me go through all the stages of grief. I have warned her many a times of the unfortunate ride that is being a fan of the Minnesota Vikings. But you know what? We're making progress. I feel like the Vikings have worked their way up to her number 2 team. And you know what? We will take that. I do think when they do play Vikings versus Falcons, and Christine, you can back me up on here. Maybe you can prove me wrong. I would gladly be proven wrong. But I feel like when the Vikings and Falcons play next month, you will be supporting the Falcons, which I can respect. However, every other game, you're rocking with Minnesota. Oh, I know. I root for them when the Falcons aren't playing. Hey, you know what? Honestly, as someone, you were not born in Minnesota. You grew up in Atlanta. I can respect that. Root for your hometown team, but you got to support the boys in purple too. Let's go, baby. All right. We will take that, though. We got a big game today. We better beat the Panthers. Otherwise, you will see sad Eric again. Josh Reynolds has been around for a bit in L.A. Him and Goof go back. Yes, they do. Kirk was wide open. That I did not see. Okay, so maybe I missed the wide open receiver too. That is fair. You never know. I don't know. I might go back and watch that play later. Maybe Kirk wasn't in his progressions. I know it's kind of ironic. I'm doing the thing for Trevor Lawrence that annoys me when people do it for Justin Herbert, where like I always have a convenient excuse ready. So I fully recognize like I am being a little hypocritical, but also I don't care. Like I recognize my flaws. I go to war for Trevor Lawrence for some reason. I don't even know why. I just do. So I recognize he's not a perfect player. Like some of it can be on him, but number 2, let's go. If Goff trusts you, you'll get the ball. That's why Amon-Ra gets so many receptions and Laporta is starting well. JMO needs to establish that connection. Number 3, sorry, Mr. Isaac Cooch joined the 53-man roster, so the Raiders are 2. No, come on. No, don't do me like that. Surely an organization that prides itself in being one of the classes of the NFL, minus, of course, our lack of Super Bowls, which we can just conveniently disregard. Isaac Cooch is temporary, but legacy, lineage, tradition is forever. That's all I'm going to say. That's how fans are. Caden says, I have 3 Lions players on my fantasy team. Not the worst strategy with how their offense has been. Our Prince Jimmy. Let's go. Jimmy's not playing, though. All right, 1st and 10 for the Falcons. Can they get a score? They need a touchdown now. They probably need a touchdown on this drive, to be honest. A field goal still makes it a 2-score game. There's 10:36 left. That clock is ticking. It's not over if they don't, but man, it helps a lot. We'll talk about Steelers-Texans soon enough here, but Ritter, over the middle, good play by the Jaguars. Defender just getting his hand up there, getting in that passing lane. Is that Chad Moma? Is that how you say his name? Who kind of like took Devin Lloyd's starting job. Not a lot of people talk about that. Like Devin Lloyd just hasn't really played for this team. He kind of lost his job. That's a pretty good play there by the linebacker. I like the idea of Ritter. He saw the opening down the seam. He just couldn't quite look off that linebacker. You can't put too much of that on Ritter, though. I feel like that was actually a decent idea. Just a good play by the defense. They'll go back to Algier here. Mr. Jimmy, Gabe gets it. Yeah, well, Gabe likes the Raiders, too. The Vegas ties, of course, right? The Max Crosby jersey. That's crazy. You have a Raiders jersey. I respect it, though. Max Crosby is sick. Max Crosby is one of my favorite players. An incredible story. Just a great player, too. He's so much fun to watch. An absolute beast. One of the best players in the league, in my opinion. Like, genuinely. All right, 3rd and 6 for the Falcons. Here we go. Under 10 minutes to go now. They're showing pressure. Pressure does not come. They rush for Ritter. Oh, he finds London. It's London and London again, but is he short? Some of the Jaguars are putting up their closed fist. Thanks for telling me to get that jersey. That's right. All right, is this 4th down? For whatever reason, they're not really showing the line here. So I am nothing without that yellow line. London did turn around. That was a good turnaround. They did get the first down. That was a great move by Drake London to turn around to get that extra half yard. Great play. All right, the Falcons are still in business. There goes Ritter. Ritter taking off, he slides. You know, for as much as I bet on the Jaguars train, I find myself rooting here for the Falcons down the stretch. I'm rooting for Desmond Ritter to get it done. You know what? I've put him through the ringer. Go out and get this win, young man. Go have your moment. Let's go, Desmond Ritter. I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with either team winning, honestly. I'm in all honesty, I'm usually pretty neutral towards most games. I just want a good game, but I would love to see the Falcons make things interesting here and maybe steal a win in London. Here we go, 2nd and 4. Can you believe that? Mr. I pick against the Falcons every week is cheering for them down the stretch. There goes Bijan. Big hole up the middle. Electric as always. Another first down. Here we go. All right. We're starting to cook a little bit. Here we go. Gabe says, might be a hot take. Raiders' best jerseys in the NFL. I feel like that's not a super spicy take. I feel like the general consensus is that they're a classic, clean, historic look that will never change. Ritter down the middle. There's Jonnu Smith breaking tackles. He's still on his feet. Smith out of bounds near the 10. Atlanta knocking on the door. Here we go. Oh, baby. Jonnu Smith playing like rent is due. Welcome back to Arthur Smith's offense. Here we go. Oh, some technical difficulties. If Gabe was watching this, it'd be like someone just got fired. Be like, oh, they're yelling right now. Someone's getting yelled at. Maybe it isn't. I just freaking love black and silver. No, I get it. They're up there for me. Like, I think I've said this many times at this point. My personal favorite jerseys are the Dolphins throwbacks. However, the Raiders are up there. I do like the Raiders. They're just such a clean, simple look, right? With the silver helmet, too. That logo is awesome. The Raiders have one of the best logos in sports. That smirking little pirate-looking guy. I do like the Raiders uniforms. That is a good take. I can't believe you said that. That's so funny. Mr. Isaac gonna look fine in them. Oh, Josh Allen is down now. All right, so it's a 2nd and 14. Allen walking off. That's not good for the Jaguars. This is kind of where you need those defensive playmakers to step up a little bit, right? We'll see. 2nd and 14, though. I'm going to be honest. I can't believe you said that. That's so funny. Not sure what I said, to be honest. What did I say that was funny? Sometimes I like black out doing these streams and I like instantly forget what I say. Sometimes I get scared. It's like, oh no, did I say something out of pocket? Uh-oh. Oh, it was the fired thing. Okay, yeah. I see what you mean now. You got to go for it so you can make it a one-possession game. Yeah, you do. I mean, a field goal does you nothing here, especially with less than 7 minutes left. This is 4-down territory. Realistically now, with 3rd and long, you probably don't even try and get all the 14 yards. You see if you can get like maybe 8 and set up a better 4th down. Yeah, the technical difficulties. All right, yeah. I had to think about that for a second. I was like, wait, what did I say? But yeah, no, that's a classic Gabe trope. Like the screen will go green for a second. It's like, ah. Oh, what a throw by Ritter. Okay. To Jonnu Smith again. He fit that one in a tight window. That's going to be one that's going to look pretty good on the All-22 in a few days. That was a good throw by Ritter, especially considering the situation. It's 4th and 3. This might be the game. Here we go. 4th down and 3. Game on the line. Can they get the 3 yards? Who's going to go get the Falcons a bucket? You have these great skill players. Who of them is going to step up and make the play? Ritter rolling out. Pressure in his face. He throws it. London caught it. Incomplete. No. He went to London. He caught it, but he couldn't get his feet down. Oh, what a play by the Jaguars to slam the door shut potentially. Oh, it was right there. Oh, no. Oh, we got to see this replay. Oh, they went to Drake London with the game on the line. He gets the catch, 1 foot down. And that's it. This is not college football. No catch. London calling. They called London. He couldn't quite get him the play. And that might be the game. That's tough. That's a tough way to end. You know what? I got to tip my cap to Desmond Ritter. No, he did not play a great game today. But you know what? He came out second half and he did his best. He had a much better second half. That throw to Jonnu Smith to get him into 4th to 3 was pretty nice, to be honest. I still Ritter's leash is shorter after today, I feel like, because the defense played so well and kept him in this game. And this offense was dormant for most of the game, but Ritter did play a lot better second half, and especially on that last drive. So you gotta give credit where credit is due. That was a good drive from Desmond Ritter, and as Mile Marker says, harsh way for the game to end. It stinks. It is a game of feet, a game of inches. And it's, maybe something weird happens. Maybe there's a fumble and the Falcons are back in business. Like, it's obviously not like over, but man, it is looking pretty close to being Lundover. Oh, zoink Scoob indeed. Christine says Men in Black. The Men in Black. An iconic film franchise, The Raiders. And occasionally me. I do like wearing my black t-shirts, I will say. But oh, man, that is just tough. And the Falcons wear black, too. Tough way. All right, let's talk about another team in black, the black and yellow, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Houston Texans. Steelers are 2-1 somehow, some way, thanks to their defense, making plays. TJ Watt's been incredible. This defense as a whole has been incredible. It's the same story every year with Mike Tomlin. They just find ways to win games in the most weird and bizarre ways. And they're going up against a very good-looking rookie in C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud has played some awesome football so far. Houston is at home. They're coming off a big win over the team we're watching right now, the Jaguars. And I think we might be treated to a nice close game here. I think on paper, Pittsburgh is definitely the better team. This Houston team still feels like they're maybe a year away, which is not a bad place to be in. Like, they've got a lot of young players. Caden says Texans. Okay. All right. I respect it. But I don't know. The Steelers defense is different. They're playing different right now. And I believe Houston's offensive line is still banged up a little bit. Let's take a look at the injury report, right? That could be key here going up against TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Let's take a look at this injury report. Yeah, no Laramie Tunsil. No Josh Jones. See, I totally get what you're saying. Tank Dell has been fun. CJ Stroud has been fun. But I'm sorry. This banged up offensive line versus TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith and Cameron Hayward kind of terrifies me a little bit. I could very well see another game where the Steelers score like 13 points on offense but win. That's kind of been the trend so far. They got blown off the field by the Niners, then they steal a win versus the Browns, and they kind of stole one versus the Raiders. Jaguars are just going to try and drain the clock here. They're in a pretty good position here with a fresh set of downs. They'll just run up the middle, hold on to the ball, and you're okay. But Gabe says, I read a story that the Texans O-line is just smoked. I mean, let's take a look. This was a unit of strength for them coming into the season, honestly. Like, they have a lot of good players on their offensive line. They're just not healthy right now. No Tunzel, no Josh Jones, no starting center. I mean, man, Shaq Mason's pretty good. I mean, they have two of their original starters out there. That's it. Not even then. George Fant was not supposed to be the starter coming into the year. Titus Howard's on IR. Look at this. I really think that this is just very, very concerning. As great as the offense has looked for Houston, CJ Stroud looking good, at the end of the day, he is a rookie, and pressure has been kind of the one thing he's struggled with a little bit. I talked about it 2 weeks ago. Like, there are still a few plays where maybe you see him run around a little bit too much and run into the pressure, and when he's had a clean pocket, he's been very good. And overall, I really do like what I've seen from CJ Stroud. Unfortunately, just rookie QB against a Tomlin defense that's ready and licking their chops against a banged-up offensive line. I feel like this just has Steelers win written all over it, as Trevor Lawrence is going for the whole enchilada, and they're going to get a PI. Man, I feel for A.J. Terrell right there. I think he was just doing his best. That is certainly a way to pick up the yards. That is probably going to end the game right there, but yeah, no, the Texans offensive line, I don't know. I think Steelers defense should take this game over. They're 3-point favorites. I think Steelers might win a little comfortably. I'm going to go Pittsburgh 24, Houston. I guess 7 points is not comfortably, but I'll go Houston 17. 7-point game, but like Houston gets like a touchdown late to make it look better or something. Steelers control this game though. The offense has been a little wonky, but another one of those best defenses in the league vibes. And yeah, expect a lot of sacks today from TJ and Alex Highsmith. That's what I'll say about that game. As we have now escaped the 1 o'clock window. And it's good timing because we're less than an hour away from more football. Also, we have some breaking news here from Caden. Not football, but Drew Holiday to the Celtics. Really? Is that so? Well, if so, that is probably what I would imagine a good move for the Celtics. The pursuit remains alive as of 21 hours ago. There you go. There's the bomb. All right. Big news in the NBA. Drew Holiday to the Celtics. Team that's trying to get over the hump. That is my assessment of the Celtics. I'm no NBA expert by any means. I know that my favorite team traded a lot for Rudy Gobert, which had mixed results. But Raiders-Chargers. All right, so here's where Aiden O'Connell might get his first start. We're going to see the rookie in action here. He had an awesome preseason. He's got a lot of weapons to throw to, and he's going up against a pass defense that's pretty bad. I think we could see some points in this game. I think this could be a fun little game where both teams get in the 30s. I think this could be a fun game. The Chargers get their first win on the season last week, right? We all know about that, right? Justin Herbert, man, he played awesome. He did. There's no ifs and or buts about it. Justin Herbert played an awesome game. He made some ridiculous throws. He and the Chargers figured out what the Vikings were doing on defense pretty quickly, and they picked us apart. They saw that the Vikings were going to blitz, and they were going to have guys in zone coverage back behind. And that was a good recipe for Keenan Allen to get 18 catches. 18 catches. It played right into the Chargers' hands. Herbert is another guy. Loves to get the ball out quick release, pick apart the defense. Yeah, people fixate on that strong arm, but really Herbert is a guy that likes to dissect the defense with shorter throws. He's great from the pocket. He can make those big plays. He can throw on the run. He's got that big arm, but he and Keenan Allen destroyed the Vikings defense. This Raiders defense is not very good either, so I really like this matchup. It stinks that Mike Williams is hurt again. That dude cannot catch a break. This team cannot catch a break with injuries. You'd never like to see it, man. I feel so bad. So it's going to be a lot on Quentin Johnston now to kind of step up and be that guy that goes and wins on those downfield routes, right? That's what they brought him in for. I don't think they wanted him to have this big of a role this early on. They were even saying like in training camp, like, yeah, we're trying to bring him along. He's a bit more of a raw receiver. We have Mike Williams. Like, we're easing him in. They can't really do that anymore. It's unfortunate. But Keenan Allen looks like he's turned back the clock a little bit. Like, he's been dealing with that hamstring the past few years. He just looks faster out there. He looks better. I said last week, maybe this isn't 2018 Keenan Allen. Well, maybe he's a little bit closer to that than I originally estimated. Like, he went crazy. I see we have some activity in the chat. Some pop for Aiden. Yay. Mile Marker says, I pick Chargers. Got old Boilermaker football. Nice singing, Gabe. Thank you. I put my soul into that. Gotta love the vibes in the chat. I do want to see how Aiden O'Connell plays, though. I think he could play pretty well. Again, he's got Devontae Adams. He's got Jacoby Myers, right? He's got some players. I am going to go with the Chargers, though, in a high-scoring game. I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to go really crazy. Go big or go home. I said we're going to see points. Give me Chargers 38, Raiders 28. We're going to see some points. Even without Mike Williams, is Austin Eckler going to play? That's another interesting question. Let's take a look at this injury report, because I know he's been out the past few weeks. Oh, this is like everyone's injury report. We're getting close to the 2-minute warning. I mean, this game is all but over now. We're going to wrap up the pregame, and then we're going to get ready for a Sunday of football. I'm going to park myself on my couch and cheer on the Minnesota Vikings. All right. Eckler. He doesn't seem to be... Oh, there he is. He's doubtful. Okay, so still no Eckler. That obviously doesn't help. No Corey Linsley, no JT Woods. Bosa's doubtful. I mean, this is a very banged up team, man. I don't know what it is. They just cannot catch a break. The Raiders are not quite as hurt. Crosby is questionable. He should play. Gabe says, give me the Raiders. Okay. He believes in Aiden O'Connell. I don't hate the Raiders as an upset pick. I don't know. This Chargers offense versus the Raiders defense is a bit of a mismatch. The way the Raiders can win is Max Crosby is going to have himself a game. And their offense is going to have to keep pace. This Chargers team, they're going to put up points. They're going to get their yards. They're going to move the ball. Give me the Chargers 38-28. Big, high-scoring game. Take the over and everything. Points. Catch. That's what we're going to see. Patriots-Cowboy, the America Bowl. America's team versus the Patriots. Cowboys reeling after a tough loss to the Cardinals. And the Patriots, an ugly win over the Zach Wilson Jets, which is something we've said for a few years now about this team. Ugly wins over the Zach Wilson-led Jets. Gabe is telling me to join the dark side of the Raiders. I will say, for the record, I will probably be rooting for the Raiders, but just objectively speaking, I think the Chargers are the better team and will probably win that game. But I am kind of rooting for the Raiders. I like the Raiders. I can talk about another classic organization that just oozes football. I talk about how, like, my stance is like the NFL is more fun when the Cowboys are good. Same thing goes for the Raiders. When the Raiders are good, this sport is more fun, in my opinion. But Mile Marker says, hope both Vikings and Bears win just for fans of self-respect. Yeah. No, I will say, like, I've got like a very busy day of schoolwork ahead of me. Like, I'm probably only going to be able to watch the 1:00 window games, and then I'm going to have to get to work on a project that my draft is due tomorrow for one of my classes. I would like to be in a good mood for that, and I would like the Vikings to be responsible for that. I'll say that. We should start a Dr. Pigskin prediction for these streams. Throw in our upset pick each week. I like it. Something we can keep track of. I like that idea. I haven't even picked an upset really outside of the Bears, which I guess an 0-3 team beating an 0-3 team. That's not the craziest upset. I mean, the Broncos are 3-point favorites. That's been the wonkiest pick I've made so far. But Mile Marker says 49ers forever. Okay. Putting the Raiders down as mine, but Aiden will be sad. Well, for this game, Dallas and New England. I'm not going to panic too much over the Cowboys losing to the Cardinals, right? I mean, it was a tough loss. Again, I honestly didn't watch much of that game, but I saw that, like, I don't know, their defense gave up a few big plays, which you can probably point to Diggs as a reason why. I mean, teams would just avoid Diggs' side of the field. For as much as maybe we haven't respected Trayvon Diggs, calling him like a pick hunter and stuff like that, and then he gets burned. Eventually, offenses just kind of realized, you know what, it's not really worth throwing to his side of the field because he does have such good ball skills. Those turnovers are very valuable. And Gilmore kind of struggled a little bit last week, just a little bit. And it just opened up the whole field without Diggs out there. That loss mattered a little bit more than I thought it would. I thought, like this Cowboys defense will still be really good, just not generational. I still think, again, I don't want to worry too much over 1 week. Like, I really think this team is just too talented to not figure things out, at least to an extent. But it's a little concerning. However, for the Patriots, they don't really have any threats at receiver that make you worry too much. Also, this is a Gilmore revenge game, which is kind of fun. But, hey, we'll see. Patriots are 1-2. They're better than their record says. I mean, again, same story. Great defense. Offense just has not quite been good enough, but their defense will keep them in all their games. Cowboys are at home. I still like this Cowboys offense. I don't know why people... Well, I know why, because he's the Cowboys quarterback, but people just love to hate on Dak Prescott. I stand by he is a good quarterback. Like, this should not be a hot take that Dak Prescott is good. He does everything well. He's not, like, elite, but I think he's, like, a top 10 guy. So, I don't know. The offense was a little bit out of sync. There's been much made about the Texas Coast offense that Mike McCarthy said he's wanted to run. It just wasn't at its full potential last week. I get that. They're not going to go undefeated, obviously. Losing to the Cardinals is a little alarming. I think they get right this week, though. I think they bounce back against the Patriots, a team that I think they're just better than. Also, I accidentally X'd out of my little tab here. I have so many tabs open. I need to clean this up. But Jaguars kick a field goal to really just put the seal on things. Give me the Cowboys at home. We'll go with a bit of a closer game. We'll go 28-20. Cowboys over the Patriots. But give me the Cowboys. They bounce back. Tree blocking our gravel road. Been thunderstorms down here. Oh, man. Is everything okay over there? Hope everything is all good. Those storms, man, they can really pick up. You pick the Cowboys? I'm with you, but hopefully everything is okay over there, mile marker. Hope that the weather can settle down a little bit. Man, some bad thunderstorms. It's still like we're wrapping down the thunderstorm season, but we still get some. That's for sure. All right, Cardinals 49ers. My gut is on fire, baby. Jonathan Gannon football. Let's go, Cardinals. Yeah, this is a team that is playing their tails off right now. They've heard us talk about how they're easily the worst team in the NFL, how they might not win a game, how they already have their eyes set on Caleb Williams. And you know what the Arizona Cardinals say? We're going to go and beat America's team. We took the bus to practice. Our gut is on fire. Shoo, 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 shoo. Let's go, Cardinals, baby. I'm all aboard the Jonathan Gannon bandwagon. The 49ers will win this game. However, the Cardinals have been playing with heart. And again, it's such an easy trope to fall into, but the team that stinks but plays with heart. I have all the respect in this world for this Cardinals team, for how hard they've been playing. It is, the ball is out. Josh Allen with a strip sack for good measure. But yeah, no, you could argue the 49ers are the best team in the NFL. I might not disagree, honestly. I think if they're not, they're probably 2 or 3. They are just such a complete, well-built team. Even when Purdy doesn't have a good game, it doesn't really matter because they have Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Juszczyk, Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave. Hufanga, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Kyle Shanahan as their coach. This is one of the most talented rosters I've ever seen. It is insane, the mix of talent and coaching that they have. This is an unbelievably well-built team, and they have been steamrolling people so far. They've scored 30 points every game, have they not? 30, 30, 30, with Purdy. It just doesn't matter who their quarterback is. It does not matter. Yeah, they might be the best team in the league. Again, I love the Cardinals. Maybe they can keep it close for a half. Maybe they can hang in there and make this game hard, right? James Conner's running hard. Joshua Dobbs is running people over. He's looking pretty good. Marquise Brown is making plays. Zaven Collins has looked pretty good. The defense has punched way above their weight, but San Francisco wins. They might cover even, but yeah. Good to hear that you're good over there. Mile marker, you live in Three Woods, just south of where Lake Michigan meets Lake Huron. Oh, that sounds like a beautiful part of the country. Great Lakes area. I've only been to Michigan a few times. I have some family that lives out in Kalamazoo. But yeah, I would love to like explore that Great Lakes area a little bit more. It seems like a beautiful part of the country. But Honey Bunny says Kirk deserves better, as in Kirk Cousins. I guess. I mean, I have my own take on Kirk Cousins. I think he's been a great quarterback for us. But also, he has Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, 2 great tackles, and now an offensive-minded head coach. Like, I feel like we've done a lot to put... The defense has let him down a little bit, I will say. And Hawkinson let him down with that interception last week. But I get what you're saying. Adam Thielen jersey in the London crowd. Vikings legend. Let's go. Let's go, Adam. Just don't play too well today against us. Please don't hurt us, Adam. We love you. But tree will disappear past. People burn wood here. Michigan is so diverse. The sand dunes is incredible. Yeah, I've like heard of the sand dunes before. I guess sand dunes is pretty. Sand dunes, Michigan. I've like heard of this before. Is it over by one of the Great Lakes? But I mean, I watched some geography YouTube videos. Shout out Geography King. Christine, if you're still in here, shout out Geography King, our righteous king. But yeah, no, this looks, I mean, it's crazy. Like you look at this and like, this is in Michigan, you know? It's kind of crazy, but wow. I'd love to explore this area sometime though. I do like the outdoors. Now that it's cooling down, I'm excited to go back hiking again. I cannot hike during the summer here. It's so hot, but there's a lot of cool areas to explore around here in Georgia and like Tennessee, North Carolina. Thielen grew up not far from Fargo, but you know that. Way southwest of here, Lake Michigan. Yeah, Detroit Lakes. I have been there many a times, actually. Good old Detroit Lakes. I've been to both the lake itself and the city. I've been to Zorba's there. I don't know if you know about Zorba's, but love the Detroit Lakes Zorba's. Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. Like, he was a kid from Detroit Lakes that went to University of Minnesota Mankato and then essentially walked on the Vikings as a tryout, earned his way on the team as a special teamer, and became one of the best receivers in the NFL. It's a crazy, incredible story. Local kid done good. Let's go Geography King. He can be the Duke. He's the king of geography. Jimmy is our king in general. But anyways, 49ers win big. I'll go 35-17. They cover. But the Cardinals keep it close for like a quarter maybe. My gut is still on fire, though. You will not put the fire out of my gut. All right. 2 more games. You want to talk about a game that might not be close. Taylor Swift is going to be here. So that's something. We've heard plenty about that. You know what's really interesting? So, as I've said many times now, I'm very excited to be going to Vikings versus Chiefs next week in Minneapolis. I'm going to be up north back home anyways. One of my friends is getting married back in Fargo on that Saturday. I'm flying in and out of Minneapolis because it's infinitely cheaper anyways. And it's like, well, you know, I'm there, so might as well go to the game. So me and my dad are going to that game. I'm super excited. Is Taylor Swift going to be there? Because ticket prices have gone up significantly over the past week. And there's been speculation, right? She's going to be at this game. To be honest, for as much as like people have complained about hearing about Taylor Swift, and I get it, like you're here to like if you're on Twitter, like you want to see the NFL post about football, and like, yes, Taylor Swift got more posts than the Dolphins scoring 70. Like, I get that. That is a little annoying. But also, it's just such a bizarre and weird story that like the biggest pop star in the world is dating like one of the best football players in the world. Like, it's at least a little interesting. And she was at the game. Again, I can see how people are getting tired of it. Like, I totally like get it, but It's still an interesting story in my opinion. I will say, if she doesn't come to the Vikings game next week, my feelings will be hurt. If she will go watch the Chicago Bears and the Zach Wilson Jets, but the Minnesota Vikings is where she draws the line, that will hurt my feelings personally. So maybe I'll make an album about Taylor Swift then. But we'll see. I don't know if she's up to travel to Minnesota to watch a third straight football game. We'll see, but she spans a couple of generations. I mean, see that like it's not even just like the 13-year-old girls. Like there are like people like my age that grew up with Taylor Swift. Like, so I get it. Like it's a big deal. I get it. Maybe a little bit too much, but I get it. I totally get it. Anyways, ironic because I'm doing it now too. I've spent about a minute talking about it and I've not talked about this game yet. To be quite honest, right? I'm starting to walk like I was Mr. Let's see what Zach Wilson can do. He seems more mature. He seems ready for the moment. He's doing his best, and maybe he does seem a little bit more mature. I'm sorry, he's not good. It's time to accept that he's just not good. He's not the guy. The offense has not been good with him. They can't move the ball. They can't score points. The defense is great, but they just cannot score. You know, they put up, 10 against the Patriots last week? Their offense right now is pretty much Breece Hall or Garrett Wilson. Please do something cool. They've scored 10 points in back-to-back weeks with him against two very good defenses. But the Chiefs' defense is also very good. I've said so many times now, hey, this Chiefs' defense, they're like playing at an elite level. They've been playing at an elite level. So, you know, I could see another 10-point performance from the Jets here today, and maybe their defense keeps it a little bit close because, again, this is a very talented defense, but to be quite honest, some of this feels like it's just setting up to be like a colossal, epic meltdown on national TV for the Jets and what might be the low point of a very disappointing season of what was supposed to be such a fun, magical year. You know what really stinks? This was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes. We have never seen that matchup before. We may never see that matchup. We have never seen Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes, and that breaks my heart. The Chiefs and Packers played on Sunday Night Football back in 2019, the year the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Mahomes was injured that game, and so he didn't play. And I believe it was, Matt Moore playing that game, right? So no Mahomes. And then a few years later, the Packers and Chiefs met in Arrowhead, and that was the famous Aaron Rodgers has COVID game. And now Rodgers tears his Achilles, and again, he's not playing. We have not seen Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes, and we might never see it. This was our third chance to see it, and we've never seen it. It stinks. I was looking forward to it. This is a game we were all looking forward to. Potential heavyweight battle. I think the Chiefs win very comfortably here. Their offense, granted it was against the Bears, but their offense looks a little bit back on track. I mean, seriously, how long? Okay, here we go. First thing that comes up. But seriously, how long did we think that their offense was going to stay down like this? I mean, they got Kelsey back now. They're rocking and rolling. They will continue to be an elite team. You can't worry about this team too much. They will be fine. They're going up against good defense. I'm going to go Chiefs 30, Jets 10. I don't know. I think the Chiefs run away with this one. They'll dominate from the start. There's going to be a lot of Taylor Swift references. We'll probably see her up in the box a few times. Kelsey's probably going to score again and do his little dance, you know. But yeah. I would have loved to see Rodgers lose to Mahomes. Yeah, I feel that. I tend to be more of a Mahomes enjoyer than a Rodgers enjoyer myself too. But just as a football fan, it would have been nice to see those two duke it out head to head. We've just never seen it, you know. And they were in different conferences for so long that it felt like, if they do meet, it's either going to be the Super Bowl or like this super special rare matchup. And it just, maybe it's not, it's just fated to not happen. Maybe it would have been too much. What is my favorite T-Swift song? I think mine is Great American Dynasty or Cardigan. Low-key Bad Blood doesn't get enough love. Kendrick Lamar's verse on Bad Blood actually does kind of go crazy. I'm not a huge T-Swift listener. I think for me, this might be a basic answer, but my sister and I grew up listening to Radio Disney. That's what my parents would put on in the car when we'd go on like road trips and stuff. So I listened to a lot of Taylor Swift country, which is funny because I'm usually not a big country music person, But there's just a certain nostalgia that comes with Love Story that I think that is my go-to T Swift song personally. I think that is just, it's such a classic. It brings back positive memories of drives to the lake on Radio Disney. And yeah, that is my pick. That is, to me, that is the ultimate Taylor Swift song, which again, I'm not a huge country person, but I respect country Taylor Swift. Suffering for all, and that's sweet. And it's a good memory. It is. But yeah, Chiefs over Jets, big time. Not much else to say. I would be shocked if the Jets won this game, to be quite honest. Hey, if they need a quarterback, give us a call. Let's talk. All right, one more game here. Seahawks, Giants. We saw this game last year. It's a pretty fun game. Here we go again. Seahawks. They eked one out versus the Panthers, didn't they? Yeah, they won by 10. Their offense has kind of been clicking a little bit. Geno kind of looks back. Maybe Geno is for real. The receivers are good. The running game has been good. Kenny Walker, Zach Charbonnet, right? Jamal Adams is back now, I believe. This Seahawks team, they're looking like maybe a team that can get back to the playoffs. Going up against a Giants team that, not an ideal start for them. They do have the famous quasi-bye week, right? It's been a while since we've watched the Giants play football. Last we saw was live on this channel, Thursday Night Football, and they got pummeled against the 49ers. I believe Saquon Barkley is not going to play in this game, which is unfortunate. Yeah, he's doubtful, and Andrew Thomas is out. The Giants are still pretty banged up, which is unfortunate. The defense has not quite played up to the level I was hoping it would. I just don't know, man. They're without their two best players on offense. They're going up against a team that I think is probably better than the Giants, even if they are healthy. So, I don't know. I like the Seahawks again. Geno's been playing well. The offense is good. The Seahawks are not a perfect team, but they look good. 3-1 seems fair for them. I'm going to go Seahawks. We'll go Seahawks 30, Giants 17. A comfortable win. I don't know. It's not going to be like a crazy game, but I like the Seahawks in this one. Mile Marker says, hoping the Seahawks take it. They seem like a pretty likable team, right? Geno Smith has been a great story. Well-run organization. I'm excited for the game. Also, make sure you stay hydrated, King. You know, it's been a while since I've drank some water. Thank you for the reminder. I actually filled this up before we got started. And I have not used it yet. I've been drinking nothing but coffee and chocolate milk. So thank you for that, actually. Yeah, hydration is big for me, but I've been a little lacking. I will catch up on it, though. But yeah, it's about football time, man. I'm excited. We got like 30 minutes until the game start. Thank you for the water reminder. I just got like so deep in the zone. Oh, they're showing a Toy Story replay. I ended up not watching the Toy Story broadcast. Look at Woody dancing. I mean, it's something I'll go back and watch later. I think it'll be funny, like an all 22 breakdown of like the Toy Story, just like, all right, look at Woody coming off the edge. Boom! All of a sudden, there's a snake in the backfield, right? But they swing it out to Bullseye. He runs like the wind, first down. Oh, look at Darius Williams go through Andy's room. Everything happens in Andy's room. Touchdown, Jaguars. Everything happens in Andy's room. If you know, you know. All right, but that's all I've got for you guys here today. No desert talk. I don't think I'm going to play any prize picks today. I've been losing a little bit too much. I got to chill and save my money a little bit. So we're going to be responsible today. Hey, if you guys are, though, let me know what you guys are playing. Yeah, I don't know. Best of luck to all you guys. Best of luck in fantasy. Gabe says, I thought the Toy Story broadcast was kind of cool. I think it's a cool idea, right? Make this game more accessible. I could totally get, if I was, an 8-year-old, I would have thought that was sick. I still kind of think it's sick, I think the Nickelodeon games are a fun little wrinkle, and now Disney's got their own answer with the Toy Story game. I think it's unique, Give people other ways to watch. I like it. I remember when the Saints and the Bears played on whoever one year, I told Henry that the Nick broadcast was the only broadcast for the playoffs. Oh, I remember that. And we just sat there and watched the whole first half in Nickelodeon style. The Nick game is kind of fun. These are games that are fun in small doses. I watched the Nick game last year on Christmas Day. The, was it Broncos Rams? Yeah, that was fun. You have Patrick Starr doing play-by-play. Was fun. Surprises. You all have fun this afternoon. You too, man. Thank you for tuning in and watching another stream. Thank you to everyone who popped in and out, help make these streams possible. I do these not only for me, but for you guys too. I enjoy talking about this sport, watching this sport, sharing the beautiful game that is the NFL with each and every one of you. New video in the works coming soon. Follow me on Twitter if you don't, at Dr. Pigskin. You'll get a lot of updates for streams and videos. And I haven't talked ball as much on there. I like to save it for here, but I might switch back. I might get back into my tweeting era a little bit. We'll see. But go Vikings, go Raiders, says Gabe. Dude, go Vikings, please. Let's just win a game, please. Can we play a normal game for once? We'll see. But yeah, I had a blast with you guys as always. We're going to take myself full screen here for the final bit to make it more personal when I sign off. Go Brock Purdy. I love Brock Purdy. Gabe cheering for a lot today. Yeah, Brock Purdy is a cool guy, but that's all I've got for you guys. We watched a good football game. The Jaguars taking home the W over in London. They're going to stay over across the pond and play another big game against the Bills next week, and maybe we might go live for that one too, because that was kind of fun. Getting up early in the morning for some early morning football. But they're switching over to the news now because it's ABC. I'm going to have to go get the Vikings game set up on the eastern corners of the internet, as I always like to say. And we're going to warm up our leftover Chinese food for lunch because it is really good. I had beef a la Szechuan with fried rice. Very good stuff. But I've said this like 4 times. That's all I've got. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go enjoy another great Sunday of football, and I can't wait to see you guys all again soon. That's all I've got. The doctor is out. Love you guys. Thank you all for watching.